Hello. How are we doing, guys? Why are you falling over? Stop it. A bit of a thing happening with my contraption. Something's come loose, I think. Hey, Mika. Hey, Ash. Ooh. Oh. Hi, Becky. Maddie, please stop whining, sweetheart. You've been out, you've had food, you've had breakfast, you've had a drink. I don't know what else to give you. You've had snuggles, you've had belly rubs. Auntie Mika's here to give you belly rubs, look. Belly rubs from Maddie, from Auntie Mika. There we go. Is that better? You happy now? Right then. So, in a bit, when I complain about how cold I am all of a sudden... No, I slept last night for a change, but I woke up with a really bad headache. Not a migraine, though. Just a headache. I think I was dehydrated, actually, because I've drunk about 1 litre of water, and I'm on my second coffee, and I feel a bit better. Oh, but I haven't hung out with you guys in a couple of weeks, feels like, so I thought I would. No, that's too long to be flat. I'm trying to train my fringe to go across to one side because it's too long to be in my face. A bit raspy today as well. Don't know what's going on there. Probably slept with my mouth open or something. You know how it is. Yeah, I think it might be 2 weeks. It's just been so much going on. And then this week it's just drama on top of drama on top of drama on top of problems on top of drama. It's just one thing after another. Oh. Anyway. So, for those who don't know, it's 10 days to Halloween. So I'm in full spook mode. Feels like forever. Jen, aren't you... Yeah, I haven't seen you in class lately. Virtual learning. Oh, for the kids? Or for you? You're not back at school, are you? Oh, hang on. I haven't moved the... Hold on. I can't see the chat because I haven't popped it out, so I can't pop out. There we go. Now I can see the chat next to that. If I don't have it in the right place on screen, my other camera gets in the way. Oh, I haven't put my banners on either. We have Super Chat available. That's where you can find me. And that's our music today, as usual. Which is Katie. I haven't seen Mara for a few weeks. I haven't seen Mara about at all. Or Andrea. It's normal for Andrea to disappear during the summer because she runs like a homestead thing. But she's normally back ready for the Halloween Chronicles and I haven't seen her yet this year, so I need to email her and check in. Oh, just exhausted. This Mercury Retrograde, ever since Mercury went retrograde in Scorpio, normally it doesn't bother me, but ever since it went retrograde in Scorpio, everybody's deepest, darkest problems are coming out. And it just seems to be a constant onslaught of, oh my God, now this is happening. Oh my God, now that's happening. Oh my God, now this is happening so-and-so, and this is happening over there, and now this is happening over here, and... I miss the quiet. Anyway, exciting things. My patrons have already seen this, but So if you're interested in a full look-see at this, you need to be over on my Patreon. But this is my new deck. It's It's written by Rose Wright, who uses Rider-Waite, and illustrated by Eugene Smith, who's one of my favourite illustrators for Llewellyn. I really love his work. And it's a Poe deck. So this is cool. We're playing with this. It comes in this amazing box. Look at all this beautiful artwork. Sorry about the glare, I can't help that. This is the book, and it's a full colour, fully illustrated book. It's gorgeous. And these are the cards. And my only gripe with this is that the cards are a little bit too shiny. They're glare like that, see? Whereas if they were matte, I would prefer them a little bit more. But these are all pictures from Poe's stories. So we've got obviously the Maelstrom, the angels weeping for Annabel Lee, the Mask of the Red Death. I don't remember what that one is. There's the one from the cover. It's just fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. This is definitely my favourite one, the Magician. But the Magician is one of my cards. The Magician, the Star, and the World are my cards. And I love this Magician one. He's the one on the book as well. I want to try and find like a large poster size one of him, but I don't think they do them. So I might have to scan my card and like print it out A4 size to put in a clip frame, because he's gorgeous. I love him. So there's that. It's expensive, okay? I will give you that already. It is in my... Oh, look at the state of my nails. Ew, forgot to paint them. It is in my Amazon shop if you follow the links down below. But it's expensive. It's 30 odd quid. So don't be surprised. But look at what you get for your money. So there's that. This is my new toy. I love this thing so much. Put it down there out the way for now. If it makes you feel any better, I just bought a house during a pandemic and we're moving on Friday the 13th. Magpie. What? What? That's taking things to a whole other level. I hope you didn't sign your house contracts during Mercury Retrograde. I've also been sewing like a fiend, because in my main class, when frogs sing, our winter project is quilting, which I've never done before. So I thought I'd get a bit of a head start. I had some squares that didn't cut the right size. So I cut them down so they all matched, and I made this. It's got no backing on it yet. I've got to trim down. I'm going to get some hand stitching practice in. I'm going to turn all these seams down and fell them down. I've got some black... I bought some flat sheets in black thermal. Brenda, hi! Another one who's been a bit absent. Nice to see you. I've got some black thermal fabric. I bought some flat sheets, and I'm going to put one of those on the back of this. Because it's not very big. It's only like a metre square, so it's like a tablecloth size. But that's okay, because that will fit my table in the kitchen. But I'm doing a big one. And the big one is in something that I will show you later at the moment, because I'm going to do the sticky stuff first. So, yeah. This is all machine sewn, by the way. This is not hand sewn. But I wanted to get something ahead so that I can use this to demonstrate the hand sewing bits. So, stickies. This, I believe, it is the October set. Yes, because the spooky ones came out in September, so I don't know if they're still doing the Halloween theme. I don't think so, but we'll see. Oh, it looks like we've got the fall theme for this. So normally, companies tend to do September, they do fall, and October they do Halloween. It looks like we got all the spooky stuff in September ready for Halloween, and now we're getting all the fall stuff, which is good. I like that. That's a good way of doing it. So this is Secret Garden, and it's got cute animals on it. I like this. This is a little bit twee, but it's also a little bit kind of Beatrix Potter-ish. These are always just regular note sections. They're never sticky notes. I wish they were. You would think with the name like Sticky Box and being all about stickers, they would be sticky notes. This is a little seed packet type thing with a cute little, I like the cute little florist. That's awesome. Let me just zoom you in a bit. Hang on. Because I can do this on my newfangled doofer. Oh, wrong way. Nope. There we go. Is that better? You can see it now. So there's the paper. He's pretty, I like him. This is adorable. Little seed packet. There's the little shop on the back. And then here, oh, we've got a little watering can sticker clip. That's cute. That is cute. I like that. That is cute. And then the, oh, Crazy Pumpkins. We've got some Crazy Pumpkins from the Crazy Pumpkin Patch. So it's like Franken Pumpkin. Zombie Pumpkin. And Ghost Pumpkin. These are cute. I like these. These are fun. This is the kind of stuff I can use in November when Halloween is over, but I still want that Halloween stuff. But I'm not that I'm ever bored of black and white, but when I get to the point where black and white is taking over my life. Okay, that's cute. I like that. Whoops. Fingers and thumbs. Let's see what we've got sticker-wise. Oh, look! The little shops. Oh, that's adorable. That is cute. These are like washi tape type stickers. So they're vellum-y. They feel like washi tape when you take them off. So we've got a little flower shop and a little... It's a little shop with flowers around the door. Flowers $100. There's a little dog with a watering hose spraying his friend. Hi Casey. Hi Deb. Little dog in a plant pot. I think these are dogs. I think the ones with pointy ears are dogs and the ones with round ears are cats. These look like Shibus. A little poodle in a sticky box. It just says flowers on the front and it's a sticky box on the side. So he's a little poodle in a parlour apparently. A little sunflower pug. A little rabbit with a wheelbarrow. A little cat with a flower. Oh, these are adorable. I like the little dog. in his little car. That's very cute. I like these. And then we've got, are these washi tape stickers, or are they just... They are, they're strips of tape. They're strips. Oh, that's cute. What a lovely way to do something, because you wouldn't necessarily want a whole roll of something like this, but just a couple of bits. There's a really wide one, a little thin one, regular one, really thin one. What a good idea. I like the little black cat in the plant pot. Very cute. I like it. Oh, these are beautiful. These are more like the paper. Nema Sprout. Right, of course. Oh, these aren't printed very well. Seem to have got a duff printing. That's a shame because I like that one. I wonder if I just email them, they'll probably send me another one out, but I don't know if it's really worth it for one sticker. That's a shame. It must have either been handled when it was wet, or more likely it's come out of the printer like that. I like the possum, he's cute. He reminds me of Animal Crossing, actually. Nice. I follow Nema Sprout on Instagram, actually. Oh, these are by Blue Bean. I recognise them now. Yeah, Blue Bean 94 on Instagram. All different. Oh, it's cactuses. Well, that's definitely a pumpkin with a little cactus. Sad cactuses. Oh. Little crows on that one. Hi, Marianne. These are cute. I'm not sure I would get much use out of so many cute garden stickers, but I missed the deadline for checking which box was which, so I think maybe the pop pack would have been better for me this month, but these are cute. I mean, I've used a few of them, but I'm neither into cute animals and cats particularly. I mean, I like cute dogs and stuff, but I'm not into plants really, so these are cute. These are planner sticker type things. Birds and clovers. Kind of strange, but okay. This is a nice pack if you like cutesy stuff. Hence the word cute pack. I actually meant to cancel this one this month. I didn't get around to it. Yeah, I'll use some of those definitely, but possibly not all of them. I like this one, and I like the paper, and I like the cactuses. The cactuses are funny. We might send the... I've got a little box of stuff to send to Courtney actually, and she's got a little garden journal that she's making for her garden, so I might send some of the little cutesy animals to her because I think she'd be able to use them better than I would. Okay, that's the cute pack, and then we've got the retro pack. This looks much more me. This is the Wanderlust theme, so it's like travel and time and stuff. So we've got Cook's Travel Service. Gosh, that's an old one. That's an old design. 1940s, maybe 1950s. Interesting. I don't know when I'm ever going to use all these bits of paper, but I like these watches. This is good. So I've got, oh, it's a compass. Yep, these are good. I like these. I've got silver on. And they're clear. Can use those. Oh, these are cute. Little pack of tickets. You can always use tickets. Never any problem using tickets. Getting your car done. I'm getting my car back. That's a saga. Oh, these are like sticker flakes. Washy sticker flakes. And they're like, yeah, little bits of tickets and bingo cards and coach tickets, London Transport Coach timetable. Oh, these are cute. I like these. I can use these. Not that anybody's travelling anywhere at the moment, but you can always use little bits and pieces like this. Especially on junk journal pages and things. The retro pack, yeah. I think, well, everybody gets the same. I did mean to cancel my cute one this month because I wasn't intending to have both, but somehow I missed the deadline for cancelling it, so I thought I might as well have it. Okay, so that's okay. And then in here, now this is very me. Oh, map washi. Very cool. I can always use that. These watches are awesome. I love these. Very cool. Ooh, I like these stamps. These are very... they're almost like Art Deco throwback, like 1950s does Art Deco kind of stuff. Oh, I like these. These are cool. Transport. I like the style of these. Whoever's doing these little whimsical watercolour illustrations at Stickii Box is... I like your work. They've done shop fronts, they've done the little witches, they've done now trains, we've got the floral shop fronts. I really like this style. I think they do really nice stuff. You can always use stuff like this. Even if you're not travelling. You can always do a journal page about where you'd like to travel to if you could. Or how much you miss travelling. Oh, black and white stickers. Okay, hang on. Oh, yes. This is a little later, I think. This looks like more turn of the century as opposed to early 1800s, which is what the Poe stuff is, but I can still use these. These are quite cool. I like these. They're unusual. And then we've got a woman's one as well. Yeah, definitely more 1890s, turn of the century there. But again, all these kind of things, they don't really change that much. You can always use letters, you can always use a vanity travel kit. And I put those in with my Poe stickers, I think. It's got a black and white theme happening over there, and I don't think it's... I mean, it's slightly anachronistic, given that he was early 1800s, but most people look at stuff and go, oh look, Victorian, and they don't really know if it's Victorian or Edwardian or whatever, so I think it'll be okay. I like these. These are kind of... they're kind of 1940s-ish, or 1930s, 1940s, but you could also use these for other things, easily. This one, with all the tiny details, this reminds me of Andrea Joseph's work, where she used to do an open suitcase with lots and lots of tiny, tiny little things in. I like these. Big wrap, a book wrap. So you could use something like that in a Harry Potter theme. You don't have to use things like this just in a travel theme. I like it. Yeah, I'll put those in with my Poe stuff, and these I'll just use generally. You can always use stamps, because you can use these just on a page of writing. Put one of these in the corner and makes it look like a postcard, you know. I like the pocket watches. They don't fit my black and white and gold theme, my black, white and silver theme for my Poe journal though, so I might use those elsewhere. Yeah, not bad, not bad. I'm nowhere near as excited as I was for the... No, they're American. Stickii Box is American. Stickii Club it is. Stickii Club, at Stickii Club. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And they do 3 packs. They do a cute pack, a pop pack, and a retro pack. I don't know what the pop pack was like this month. I didn't see it. Like I say, I missed the previews, but... It's a subscription. It's like, I think it's $10. Something like that. They don't charge a huge amount for postage to us foreigners, which is why I get them, because I don't mind paying $10 for your stickers and then another $2 or $3 for postage, or, you know, even double for postage is fine. But a lot of stuff, it's like 15 quid for what you want, and then it's $60 in postage, and I'm like, I'm not paying that, I'm sorry, no. So let's put these in my box. This is what I'm using as my everyday carry at the moment. Yes, I still have my huge Delphonics. I tend to keep that on the desk to corral my desk stuff. This is what I'm carrying around with me. So I've got my black and white stickers in here. Got my Crow clip, it's a magnetic clip. My Bic ballpoint. Again, I went through this in detail on my Patreon, so I'm not going to spend hours going through this. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. I've got all my witchy stickers in the back here. I've got stickers specifically that I can use for Poe. My Halloween stickers. These stickers are specifically Poe, so I'm going to put those in here with these. I need to spend some time with my book. I haven't used any of my stickers yet because I haven't really done anything in my book. I'll show you my book in a minute. But yeah, those are my Poe stickers specifically, and then I've got lots of little Halloweeny bits. My Hobonichi things, what do you call them? Stencils. In here I have my meds and my White Stag washi tape, which is Poe themed. Beautiful, beautiful. I showed this on the last stream I did, where I had the links to White Stag's artwork and website and everything. And then I've just got some pens and pencils, basics. My Lamy, which is inked with sketch ink, because it's waterproof. I'm mostly using a dip pen this month for my Poe stuff, but this is more for just general writing and sketching. Got my red Colorino, my little Quickie glue pen. This is actually really good. This is really good. $10 a pack, yeah. And a black Prismacolor, regular pencil, regular ballpoint pen. I believe this is my size 8. Yeah, this is, see the wide washi tape on your pens. Really helpful. This, I know without even looking at the cap that this is my 0.8. Which is good for colouring. And then this is my really thin fine liner that I like for writing with. And my eraser in there. My words line. iPencil, my Apple Pencil. is usually in here, but it's charging at the moment. So there's that, and if you're wondering why I haven't fixed the front of it where it's coming apart, it's because I'm planning on taking this bit off, adding a little extra tape, like an inch or so, and redoing it because I don't like the way it warps out of shape. Let me bring you out again. There we go. I don't like the way it warps out of shape. I think it would be better if it had a little bit more room here, up here. So I'm going to add a little bit of canvas tape in between the front and the zip. Because I can. So that's my everyday carry thing at the moment. I've also got this. Yes, I've changed my traveller's notebook yet again. I can't help it. New stuff. You get new stuff, you have to use it, right? And I've been waiting for this thing for ages. This is exactly like my little passport one that I adore. This lives in my handbag, so I take it out with me when I go out. It's also got like I also use it as a wallet. I've got my cards and my paper money. I've actually got paper money in here for a change. I use it as a little sketchbook when I'm out and about, if I'm not taking my proper sketchbook with me to do urban sketching. And then I got the black one in the regular size. It's a little bit wider than a normal Midori, so you can actually fit 4 books in here without them sticking out the side, which I like. It's just the right size. Just the right size. If you think what a Midori traveller's notebook would be like if it didn't have the overhang when you put 3 books in it, that's what it's like. That's how big it is. So it's just the right size. It does pinch in a bit here, but I normally put my pen or my pencil in there, and that stops it happening. So I love this thing. It feels different to the brown. The brown leather. This is a common thing with brown and black, isn't it? Brown always feels like proper leather. The black feels like vinyl. Maybe it needs to wear in. Maybe it's because I've had that one for a while. But it is leather. It's just, it feels plasticky. So maybe it's the cover on it or something. I don't know. But it's really nice. Look at the design on it. It's so me. You're new to it and enjoying the chat. Oh, well, thank you, April. Welcome to the chat. I'm usually live on a Wednesday afternoon. I've been a bit lax this week, but this month. But normally I have some kind of plan of what we're going to do, but today I'm just waffling and showing stuff because I've been on for a little bit. Got my German Shepherd charm. I really need to paint my nails. My nails are a mess. My German Shepherd charm. And I'm just using the books that came with this at the moment. I'm not using it as a separate, yet another separate planner or anything like that. I did move my wallet into here. I was going to use this for like notes and stuff, for figuring things out for my craft projects. So like we're doing quilting, we're doing all sorts of stuff, and I really wanted to have somewhere to put those kind of notes. So I thought, well, you know what, I'll use this, because then I'll actually use it for something rather than feeling like I have to keep swapping covers or something. So this is what I'm going to show you in a minute. So this was some notes I made for that. Like I said, I haven't used it very much at the moment, but I can do things like working out my quilting squares and stuff on the squared paper, and I can make notes in here about what I've used. And I was gonna find a scrap of the fabric and clip it onto here, keep it like a Bernadette Banner calls them a project Bible. So you keep a list of all the fabric that you use and where you got it and how much it cost you, and you know, all that for reference. So it's basically a journal of all your projects. And I've done it before with crochet projects and knitting projects, but I've never done it with sewing projects. So I thought, okay, let's do craft projects and things in here. I don't do enough sewing or crafting anymore to warrant having separate journals. But, you know, I've got a crochet project I'm working on. I've got a quilting project, 2 quilting projects. I've got this one. I've got a couple of other things I want to work on. So I figured it was worth putting a journal together to use all of it together. And it's got a witchy paper clip that Paula sent me, which is very cool. It will probably end up just being writing and scribbles in this one, to be honest, but at least it's got a purpose. And I do enjoy using it, so in fact I think I'm going to put a pencil in there, because I'll probably use a pencil in there most of the time. With the one that I've already got written in there, I actually scribbled it all in pencil and then went in pen afterwards and wrote it up properly, which is probably what I'll do with this, to be honest. So yeah, there's that. Speaking of projects, this is my Poe book. Obviously anybody who's in class has already seen this, because you're working on it with me and I'm nowhere near as far through it as I would like to be. This month, like I said, it's just been drama on top of drama on top of troubles on top of drama on top of, oh my god, what's going on now? So, Maddie, this is a Sea Whites of Brighton B5 sketchbook. It's cartridge paper. It's one of the ones that I always used to use. I put a leather cover on it because I'm going to make the cover up nice when I'm finished. I put this, I think this is Tim Holtz tissue paper. It's either Tim Holtz tissue paper or it's the cheap stuff that I found in the works for £1 that was exactly like the Tim Holtz paper but wouldn't cost the earth. It might be the works one, I don't know. I've got a big pile of tissue paper, I don't know where any of it really came from, so. I envy these people who, when they're flipping through their journals, they're like, oh yes, I got this from here, and this from here, and this from here, and this from here, and this, and they can reel off all the Etsy shops they've used and where they found stuff, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, it's tissue paper, and I vaguely remember buying it, but I don't know where. I've got there are 7 different stamps that are Poe related, worldwide, and I have 2 of them. So I'm on a bit of a mission to find the other 5. I think I actually have the Hungarian one. This is the 2nd stamp that came out, which is the centenary of his death. But the year before, Hungary had an airmail one with Edgar Allan Poe on it. And I'm pretty sure I've got one of those. My intro page. I got these greeting card, playing cards with quotes on. So I thought I'd put the quote in there. I've actually got 2 sets of these so that I could, because they're only a couple of quid each, so that I could use the quotes on one side or the pictures or whatever. But I can also keep a set because order. I'll tell you about the car in a minute, Sue. So every day for the first 2 weeks I pulled a card and we got a quote. So this is actually the card with this quote on it. And I've been doing the quotes slowly because I'm trying different dip pens and fountain pens and all that kind of stuff. I'm taking my time with this because instead of, usually I'm trying to do everything all at once. This year, I'm doing all the teaching stuff all at once, but I'm doing my own book at my own pace. So we're going to be rolling on into November. So all the teaching stuff will be done by the end of October, but we'll still be going into November because we've got to fill the space between Halloween and Christmas somehow, right? So I thought I would just carry on with doing my own book in November with the class. So it's kind of it's 4 weeks of teaching materials and then it's 4 weeks of us just continuing to work on our stuff. And there's a prompt list for November as well because we're going to do Povember. Povember. This is another quote from the cards and I was just playing with my dip pens. I actually had a new nib, so I was playing with that. This one's going to have a design on it eventually. This was one of the live classes where we were learning to draw without worrying about what it looks like. Hey Jane. So we were drawing Poe from memory and then picking the best one and then, you know, playing it. I did a Jack Skellington and a Sally version of Eddie and Lenore. This is a timeline of Poe. Hi Meg. Timeline of Poe. So it's got all the key events of his life. This isn't finished yet. I've got to go. I want to go in and add some colour to it in red. I've got all his key dates and when he moved to specific places. So this is when he moved to Fort Monroe. This is when he moved to Baltimore. When he moved to Richmond, Philadelphia, New York. But I've also got in here like these bits that don't make really sense. These are publications, so that's the Pit and the Pendulum. I want to kind of highlight those. I might go around, I might just box them in red just so that they stand out. These are quotes that I'm going to write up. Again, I want to try different dip pens and stuff, but I just haven't had time to do them yet. So, but I've written the quotes on sticky notes so that I keep my book. I'm not worried about it being chronological, but I want it to be, I don't want it to be like all the quotes shoved at the end, because that's when I get time to do them. All the spooks, yes, all the spooks. But also I want to have time to go through my stickers and stuff and see what stickers I can use and things like that. Some more quotes. This is one of the class things. So what we did was we did our pose from memory, basically, what we think Edgar Allan Poe looks like, and we drew him. And then we found a photo of him. We took the best one of this, or the one we liked, not the best one, but the one we liked. And we brought it over here and we tried some more different types and, you know, playing with the hair and doing different eyebrows, different eyes, different face shapes, that kind of thing. And then that led on to this, which is the Raven illustration, which is yesterday's class where we were learning to thumbnail out ideas, because I think this whole thing is based around sketchbooks and using a sketchbook, as opposed to, you know, you see all these beautiful sketchbooks where it's just one complete page after another, after another, after another, and you think, well, where do you do your scribbles? Where do you do your work? Where do you do your figuring out? Do you literally just wake up, do a page, and ta-da, you're done? I mean, some people do, but they usually have a separate sketchbook that they call their ugly sketchbook that nobody ever gets to see. And I don't do that. I just have sketchbooks, mostly themed. So I've got my urban sketching one, I've got my everyday one, I've got this one, I've got my watercolour one, you know. And I just do whatever in them. I don't feel the need to have perfectly beautiful sketchbooks. And I think when you see these sketchbooks that are one beautiful page after another, it makes people feel like that's what their sketchbooks are supposed to be, and people don't feel comfortable with having ugly sketchbooks, you know. I mean, Fran talks about her good sketchbook and her ugly sketchbook, but she doesn't really mean ugly. What she means is she's got one sketchbook where she just scribbles and doodles and does this kind of stuff, and she's got another one where she puts together or works out how her completed illustration is going to look. That's different to having a sketchbook that is ugly and nobody sees it, and a sketchbook that's all perfect pictures, because she works differently. She has a sketchbook where she does this stuff in, and then instead of just going to another page, you'll see it in a minute, and working out the next step, she takes this and puts it into a separate book as a proper illustration with her references and stuff. So she just splits it into two books, that's all. But you'll see a lot of people who have one sketchbook that looks like this, and then another one that's just perfect, beautiful pictures. And they only ever flip the one that's perfect, beautiful pictures, so you never get to see this bit. And I think that's a shame, because it gives people, it perpetuates the impression that you can either do art or you can't. As opposed to drawing is a skill that you can learn and it just requires practice. Anyway, this was us working out how thumbnails work, how we can go from a vague idea of what we think we might want to do, to actually trying to sketch it out, working out the composition, working out what we want it to do, changing the format. And actually, I went from a vague idea that I wanted to do, and I might still do this, you know, I just ended up going in a different direction with it this time. I had a vague idea that I wanted a picture of Poe with his head open, and he was like dipping his quill into his head, and I may still do that. That's this one. That is the very first idea that I had, and I may still go back to it because I still like the idea. But when I was doing this, it went in a completely different direction, and you can literally see I went from, oh, he kind of looks like he's stabbing himself in the head, what if we take away the hand? Then he just looks like he's got a quill stuck in his head, and that looks weird. So what if he's writing with the quill? Oh, hang on a minute. What if he's writing with the raven? So using the raven's beak, holding the raven and using its beak to write with. And then what if the raven... Sorry, I went from what if the raven is watching him. Then what if he uses the raven to write with? Then what if the raven's doing the writing? And we ended up with two. This one and this one. They're very similar, but they're different styles. I want to do this one too. Because I think this will make a good Halloween one, where we do Edgar Allan Pumpkin. Edgar Allan Pumpkin. Because his head kind of looks like a pumpkin, the way I've drawn it there. And I think that would be funny to do as a Halloween doodle. But very cartoony style. And then we took that a step further. I had some other stuff on these pages. So I took my favourite of these, this one, and brought it over here. And we continued, and this is what we ended up with. So first of all, I was working out what the skull, what did I want the skull to look like, and how did I want the skull to look. And then we ended up with this ruff, which the colours are wrong. And then it finally ended up like this, which is what I'm going to draw. Now, this thumbnailing to this ruff is, for me, what a sketchbook is all about. And then you take the individual elements like the stack of books. How am I going to draw the stack of books? What's the right proportions for the bird? How does a velvet curtain actually hang? That's how you get the references for that. I've got some more work to do on this before I'm ready to draw this out as a proper illustration. And I may do it in my book, or I may do it somewhere else. I think I probably will draw it out in my book, but when I actually come to colour it, I will transfer it somewhere else and do it properly as a proper illustration on board or something. Because I really like this. I think this will work really well. I might even do it as a big canvas. So in between that, we've got, this is one of my sketch-alongs. This is the Raven with not Nicolas Cage, Jack Cusack. If you haven't seen the Raven with Jack Cusack and you like Poe, you have to go and watch it. In fact, just if you like period dramas or stuff like that, it's so good. So good. It's fantastic. It's the story of Poe's last few days, but it's completely fantastical, and it's woven in with all his stories and stuff like that. So it's not really what happened to him. It's just kind of a fantasy version of, oh, this could be how Edgar Allan Poe died, kind of thing. And I'm about a third of the way through the film, so I left another page so I can watch the rest of the film. This is just me doodling. So it starts off looking like this while I'm watching the film, and then I went back in with pen afterwards. So that's just a spare page for that. Conserving battery. Oh, because you're with your car. Oh, good luck, Katie. Hopefully your car passes its inspection. Some more quotes. This, obviously, I did this with Copics and pencil. So obviously I'm going to have to do something with this page for this quote. But that's okay. I can paint it black and do white lettering or something like that. I've got white ink. Why not? That's the beauty of a dip pen, isn't it? You can use different coloured inks. So I might just paint this one black, or put black paper over it and do white lettering. That would be fun. I'm going to do Poe's birth chart, his astrology chart, and some analysis. We're going to do Poe's monogram. I've got a couple of more spare pages for bits and pieces. I've got a funny... I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I've got a funny little cartoon that I want to do. Here's one of my stamps. I might put this one at the back, actually, because I've got one at the front, one at the back. Or I might do a page dedicated to the stamp. I don't know yet. Some more quotes. This was listening to the Raven. This is doing a sketch along again. So this was the quote for the day as it happened. So I put it on the bottom of the page. And you probably can't see this, but this is just me doodling what is coming to mind as I'm listening to the poem. So once upon a midnight dreary, as I pondered weak and weary over many a forgotten volume of forgotten lore or something it is. So we've got a pile of books on a music stool and an old clock that's striking midnight, you know. And then we've got, suddenly I heard a tapping, tap, tap, tap. Until eventually he ends up sitting in front of the door, staring at the photo of his lost love with the bird up on the Buster Palace. So that's been fun to do. I'm going to, obviously I haven't done the pen work on this to go back and refine it yet. I've done some pencil work to refine it, but I haven't gone back and finished it yet. This is like a graphic novel type layout of thumbnails, which will make no sense if you're not in the class, okay? But it is basically the Raven in graphic novel form. One of the quotes, another quote, and then that's it. That's as far as I've got. So I'm up to the 15th, and like I say, not very far into it. And then I've got a page at the back that's just... I actually really like this one. I doodled this one in about 30 seconds. I think I like it more than anything else. I was just trying a different pen, you know. I've got samples of my inks and what I'm using. I've got my sticker from the back of the sketchbook I put in the back of the book. My dip pen, sticker, you know, just the basics. And then I've put this stuff at the back as well. So, yeah, lots to do still. But, you know, Edgar Allan Poe is one of my favourites. Even if I don't finish the whole sketchbook for the class, I reckon I'm probably going to get up to about there. That's where I'm guessing. But then I still got all this. But I can continue with this, you know, doing various different Poe-themed stuff. I love re-listening to my Poe stuff. Hi, Cody. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. Class is still ongoing. You can still sign up on the discounted rate until Halloween, and then it goes to regular price. If you want to do self-study in November, you can come and join us, because we'll be carrying on. We'll still be carrying on with this. It's just there won't be any new teaching materials. All the details are down below in the description. Which brings me on to my project. What I've been doing the last few days. Oh, something's pressing my keyboard. There we go. Excuse the mess. My desk is always a mess. Should be used to this by now. But it was worse because I had all of this stuff on it. I needed somewhere to put all my sewing stuff. I found... Oh, what's happened here? Oh, it's got stuck. Hang on. Okay, so don't put stuff on top of the lid because it gets stuck. I'm going to put a toggle or a tie on it or something to keep it closed. But this is just a wicker basket that I had that was under my bed, not being used. It's got a proper hinge lid. So it's got proper metal hinged, like, loops. It's got a proper steel construction and everything. It's fantastic. So it's nice and sturdy. So I thought, well, hang on a minute. I could turn this into a sewing box. Corral all my bits and pieces, because they were just kind of piled up there. So at the moment, I've just got all my cutting mats and scissors, and I've got all my clippy things. I got a little box with my pins and stuff, and sharp things live in there. I made a little pin cushion to go with it that can either go on my wrist or I can hang it on my sewing machine, or I'm going to put this on Velcro. You'll see why in a minute. Let's take that out because that's what we need. I've got fabric. All of this down here is my big quilt. It's all cut up into squares. It needs sewing together. So there's that. But what I did for the top, it's going to be tricky to show you on there, but basically inside the lid I'm going to put this, so it will open like that and it'll have a thing in the lid, okay? And that, ugh, let's move that out of the way. So this is, I've used the same pocket design as my Delphonics dupe from Grain Creative, so I can't take credit for any of the pocket designs or anything like that. And it's a little bit tricky to see, but basically I've put, let's use one of these. I've put a pocket here that opens big. It's pleated here so that it opens properly like the Delphonics pouch, but I'm going to put elastic through this top piece. I've deliberately done it so that I can thread a piece of thin elastic, shearing elastic, through the top. So this will gather together at the top and hold in whatever is in it. See? I'm quite clever when I get going. I'm going to put some elastics on here as well, so I can stick a pencil in there, I can put my other pair of scissors in there, I can put my tape measure, you know, just odd bits and pieces that I can just chuck stuff in. I've got another pleated pocket here. Again, that's going to have elastic on it. That is it's actually for my shearing scissors, which are really heavy and big. You've just seen them. But they're specifically going to go in here, and I'm going to put a piece of Velcro. My shearing scissors are much bigger. They stand up here. But I'm going to put a little bit of Velcro on this so I can just tack it on so that they don't fall out the pocket and all that, because they're very heavy. I've got a little slip pocket down here that's just for, you know, just for bits and pieces. I'm going to put a piece of Velcro here that I'll stick a piece of Velcro onto the back of my pin cushion, so I can stick my pin cushion on there, because I don't keep pins in my pin cushion. I use my pin cushion when I'm working, and then when I'm finished I take all the pins out of my pin cushion and I put them away, because pin cushions with pets is not a good idea. Also, I'm incredibly clumsy, so also not a good idea. But yeah, I've got some bits and pieces that I need to finish on this at some point. I'm going to just hem the edge with a bit of bias binding, and I've got a bit of padding material that I don't have yet, but it's just thick enough that this can be padded slightly. That sounds ridiculous to say, but it's basically, this is very thin and you can feel the wicker through it, and I think it'll feel a bit more like a sewing box if I put a little bit of padding underneath it, which is arriving tomorrow. So, and then I'll bias bind it all, and what I plan to do is, I've got some more of this tape. This is the tape that all of the quarters that I used for like this fabric and all the quarters for my quilt and everything else, it all came wrapped up in this fabric. So I've been using these lengths of cord ribbon to, you know, edge it. I edged where it's sewn onto the box on the bottom. I used this ribbon. I sewed this ribbon along the edge, and then I folded it over just to give it a bit of extra strength on the edge, so it ends up looking a bit like that. And then I folded it that way, and I sewed through the 3 layers of fabric and the ribbon to sew it onto the wicker so that it didn't pull the fabric, because this fabric is not very strong. It's only dress material. So that's been my project for the last couple of days. Are you impressed? I am literally MacGyvering together an entire sewing kit. And I've got lots of these little scrap bits of fabric left. So I can take bits of this and, you know, if I feel like putting another flat pocket. I did think about putting another flat pocket here because I've got enough room for my pin cushion there. Or I could make, like for my my little pair of scissors, I could make a little pouch for my little pair of scissors with a popper, and then put a, again, I could put it on with Velcro so I can just take it on and off instead of having a rigid thing, and then I can take it out and put it in my carry case, my hand case, for my hand sewing if I would need to use it there. So it's cool. And it's hard to see, I know, because I've used all the same fabric, but I'm happy with it. I like it. That's been my project all week. You know, the more I think about this, the more I'm going to do that, I think. Just make a little pouch that I can put my, because I've got the ubiquitous pair of Victorian pelican scissors that everybody has who sews. And I just think it would be nice to have something that I could put those in, like that, and my thimble. In fact, the bits and pieces out of here that I use when I'm hand sewing, which is basically those bits and my tape measure, it would be nice to be able to take those out. Yes, this is a vintage tape measure. My clip has disappeared off it. Oh, I know. I'll use one of those. One of these. I'll put one of these on it. And then I've got one of those with me as well, which these are quilting clips. They're like pins, but they're quilted clips. Hi, Pammy. So I think being able to just put those in a little pouch to take with me when I just want this, that would be quite cool, actually. You don't have any bird scissors, you used old site shears. Oh, I've got big shears, but these are really handy for when you're just cutting and hand sewing. I do a lot of hand sewing and embroidery and stuff. But yeah, I think having a little pouch like that would be good, actually. And I might wait to do that until I get my quilting stuff, and then I can put the quilting material inside, put a lining on it, and then roll it all up. And it would be just big enough for those little bits and pieces, but it would be padded. Haha! Cool, eh? I like it. I might even make it contrasting so that this is the inside and use just a plain fabric so that it matches on the inside, but the outside is... I've got some more of this polka dot fabric. Could use that. That's kind of busy though, isn't it? I don't know. I'll play. Yeah, that's been my... Oh, excuse me. Oh. I'm so tired. That's been my project that I've been playing with. I'm very into sewing at the moment. It's because it's gone winter again. You need things that you can curl up by the fire and watch films and actually feel productive. You're working your way through your art stuff and sewing stuff is still buried in the hall closet. That's okay. You know, you can get your sewing stuff out any time. But I've actually got another wicker basket that I use for my hand sewing, so it'll be nice to have one for my quilt project and my proper sewing. Stickii.com, StickiiClub.com. Go to Stickii Club on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter, or StickiiClub.com, and you can buy it's a subscription pack, but you can also buy old packs as well. So if you see one that you like, once it's been out for so many weeks, you can buy another one. You can buy it as a retro pack. Thanks, Cody. I think you have to put www dot if you're accessing it from outside of America. I don't know why they still put the www. I didn't think you needed that, but I couldn't get it to work. You're still waiting for yours. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Hello, Miss Maddie. I also got, you know, my oh my god, these things, right? So here's an update on these. Let's move this out of the way. Hi, Maddie. Hi, baby. Are you coming to see Mommy? Hello. So this is the gouache, the jelly gouache, that I put in 2 little half pans in my tin. As you can see, 3 months later, it is almost completely dried up. However, all you have to do is put a little bit of water in this and leave it for 10 minutes, and it completely reconstitutes back to where it was. It's fantastic. Finally, we've got gouache that works in pans and doesn't just dry out and crumble completely. I'm actually going to spray some water in it. Where's my spray? Oh, I don't know where my spray bottle is at the moment. Spray bottle, spray bottle, spray bottle. Nope, can't see it. Okay, maybe I'm not going to spray water on it right this second, but... Oh, I've got my drinking water down here, that'll do. Yeah, that's not going to go well, is it? This is completely dry. It's got ink in it, but it's permanent ink, so it's completely dry by now. So all you do is put a couple of drops back in here. You can see these ones are already turning back into jelly. Leave that for 10-15 minutes and they'll completely turn back. It's fantastic. So this box is where the original gouache is stored, and this thing is a nightmare. It is so heavy. Right? I haven't actually weighed it, but it really is heavier than my handbag. And every time it falls over, this happens. And I cannot handle this. This just makes me want to close it and go, nope. Nope. That's no. What they should have done was made a silicone lid. So instead of having this ridiculous palette and another palette, they should have made this into one of those little rubber lids that just squeezed onto all of the tops and done it that way, because it would have been so much better. But I guess this is cheaper. I don't know. But never fear, because what we have is these little containers. These are... Oh, I haven't got the lid on properly. Maybe put the lid on properly before you start flapping it around, okay? These are waterproof containers that you use for sauce and stuff. See, it really is waterproof. I just didn't have the lid on properly. You use these for sauce and things, and these are 40ml containers. These are 30ml paints, so even I know that 30 goes into 40 with some to spare. So I'm going to transfer all of these into little ones of these, which is going to take up more space, but I can pull out individual pots instead of having to deal with this all the time, because this is, honestly, this thing is driving me crazy. And then I figure I can clean this out and I can use it for something else, put something else in it that's loose, that's lighter and needs a container with individual little slots, like, I don't know, maybe beads or something, you know? Because this is seriously driving me insane with all the mess. I don't even want to take the lid off. You know me and mucky painting. So at some point I'm going to take this out to the kitchen. Annoyingly, I'm going to lose so much paint because I don't think some of this is salvageable. Because it's all started mixing in together, look. Which is a problem. They really needed to make it so that these were separate. It's just so gross. So that's my solution for this. I reckon if you get this set of paints and you think in any way that you're going to end up with them falling on the floor. I didn't even knock mine on the floor. I put them on the desk and Maddie jumped up and they flipped backwards and onto the floor upside down. And hence this happened. If you're going to be able to keep them on your desk beautifully and never tip them up, congratulations. You might be okay with it. If not, then I suggest as soon as you open it, tip each one, get some of these. Use mixed media backgrounds for punch shapes. Yeah, I don't really do that kind of stuff though. I don't do messy backgrounds. That's the problem. That's why I'm looking at it and going, well, that's not salvageable, because I don't do that kind of art. I mean, I could, you know. But for me, taking that and putting it on paper to do some messy backgrounds to do something with, in inverted commas, is just wasting paper as well as paint, because I will never use them. So that doesn't mean all of it will go to waste. I mean, once I've got all the stuff out of the pots, whatever's left on the lid I can leave in here and just use it up as and when I need those colours. I can clean it up somewhat. And I'm sure I'll be able to scrape bits out. You know, it just needs a spoon or something to scrape bits out. But this is a job that needs to be done over the kitchen sink. This is not a do it at your desk kind of job, I don't think. But I would suggest that if you think you're going to get in this kind of mess with one of these, when you get the jelly pots, I mean, it's messy enough taking the lids off the jelly pots, to be honest. So I would suggest buying some of these 40mm pots. You can get them off eBay. Mine were £3 for 100 off eBay. And just put them in this before you even begin. That's what I would suggest. Let's wipe all this off now. Got water everywhere. I'll leave that pot of water there, I might need it. So, see, I'm always like, well, where am I going to put this that it's not going to get knocked over? Because that's not the nature of my workspace. I'm going to put it down there at the moment on top of my iPad because I think it'd be alright down there. So there you go. That's my thing at the moment. What time are we on? Oh, it's only 10 to 5. What shall I do? What should we do? What should we do? Come on, guys, what should we do? Let me move this down again. Get rid of some of the distractions. There we go. See, this is all going back to normal now. Another 10-15 minutes, this will be as usable as it was when I first bought it. It does take a little while, so you have to be prepared, but at least this is not as messy as having it in those pot things all over the place. And I think it could actually do with a little bit more in some of those. The thing with this is that the only the water evaporates out. So like with normal gouache, there's no water in it. So you add water to it and then the water evaporates out, and every time you add water it kind of dilutes the paint, which, yeah, you're supposed to do, but not as much as the water that you need once it's dried out completely. Whereas with this, it's specifically made so that when the water dries out, you can just re-add the water and it goes back to where it was before. So I like that. I think this is really good. I might leave that pipette in there actually, because it's obviously useful in there. I do use it for my inks, but I've got some more that I can use for my inks. I showed everybody my new TN. I showed that already. I'm using it for my sewing projects. Oh, that's one thing I can do there. So I'm doing like a... See, this is my sewing box. So I kept a record of what I cut and how many and how big they were. Drew a little box design. This is the design for the inside of the lid. What I used and how much it was. So I think I will get... Where's that little bit of fabric? There it is. So I don't need all of this. So let's chop a little bit of that off. I need my shears, don't I, to do that. I need to pink it. Here we go. So I don't need all of that for a lid. So let's just take that swatch there. That'll be enough, I think. So see, my actual shears are much bigger than my scissors. So once I put elastic around this, and I'll be able to put a bit of Velcro on there, and that will hold these in. So even when I'm opening the lid, it will still stick. I already showed my TN earlier, but you'll get to see it a little bit now. It's basically the one I was after, you know, this little passport one that I love. I got I've been saying ever since I got it that I wish I could get a black one in the regular size, and I found one. I found it on eBay for £10. So, pretty happy about that. Okay, that needs to go back with my sewing stuff. Alrighty, let's... Oh. I thought this would just be fun. I love to document stuff, so I thought documenting my craft projects would be a really interesting thing to do. Okay. So now I've got the fabric and all the information that I need. I actually could have put that over there, I think, and then fitted something else here, but I might just, you know, maybe I'll take a photo of it. That would be cool. I'll take a photo of my finished box and put a little know what I mean? One of them. Sprocket picture. I'll take a picture of it and put a little sprocket picture next to it. Yeah! Oh, I like it. That's kind of cool. And I can do the same for my other one. So I've got my... I don't know whether to put one on each page or just... I mean, I could use the whole thing for this, couldn't I? So this is my little mini quilt that I'm doing. And I've got samples of all these fabrics. I had to patch this one because it wasn't big enough. But I think nobody would notice that if I didn't tell them. So I've got little samples. Sorry, I've got a dog hair up my nose. Look. I've got little samples of all of these fabrics. I could draw out my design, what I've been doing, record it all in here. I like that idea. Okay. I think I'd write it in pencil, and then I can write it up properly in pen later. So, spooky quilt. And it is finished size 800 by 800, which I think is 30 by 30 inches. I don't want to write it like that. Oh, 30 by 30. I work in inches. I don't want to write 800. See, this is why I do it in pencil. So I cut 36 squares. Oh, Miss Maddie! That was a big sneeze. So my actual squares are 7 inches, 1/4 inch seam, and then I've got jelly roll strips, so that's 36, and I did these are a different colour because I didn't have enough squares. I guess I could have put these on the corners and it would have made more sense, but I'm kind of happy with the black in the middle. So that's that. And these are the darker squares, so I'm going to do another one. Miss Maddie, you're all sneezy. Have you got one of Scooby's hairs up your nose as well? And then we've got black and white squares, so bless you. Bless you. I wish you. I wish you. So this is basically my design that I used for it. And then I used 4 squares there. like little squares. And then I did a jelly roll on each side for the borders, because the squares weren't even, so I had to even it up somehow. And each one of these has a section in the middle there. And these are like that. And these are darker. And this one is darker, and then this one, actually I think it's the other way around, because these are vertical. No, I'm right. This is black with white bats, and then there's a vertical strip, but these are the white fabric with the witchy bits on that run horizontally. Yes, okay. So this one is black here as well. And this is 2.5 inches. Don't really know how much the others are. I just chopped them up evenly. I literally just laid them all down, chopped half of them in half and two of them in thirds, and had at it. The good thing I found about using fat quarters is that if you use 7s or 7/14, so I used 7, 11 and 14, actually that was virtually exactly the size of my fat quarter. It was 14 wide by 22 deep. So chopping it in half, I already had the 14 11s. And then I took another one and chopped it in 4, so I had the 7x11s and the 7x14s. So that worked really well. So, spooky quilt, and then I've got... How many bits of the fabric do I have sitting around on my desk? Not all of them. I don't know if I've got any spare bits of the other fabrics. There's the spotty one. Yes, I just used my paper scissors to cut fabric. Sue me. I don't have the other bits of fabric scraps handy, but at least I've got these. I just paper clip. You know what? I'll just stitch the damn things on. And then I can do 2s and 2s, and then I'll have 2 sets of 2. 3 sets of 2. So I'll put these 2 together here. Oh, fiddle, fiddle. we go. That'll work. Okay, so I'll put the other fabrics here. So I've got another swatch there and another swatch there, and I'll take the black thermal fabric swatch and stick it over that pin, because there's bound to be an offcut of that somewhere. So the back, black thermal, and I'm going to do a wrapped seam, which is basically where you cut the outside of the black. Let's move this over here. So the black will be bigger and it will be rolled down to there and flat stitched onto this. Does that make sense? So that it kind of wraps up. Let me show you what I mean. So here's the back. Here's the front. Okay. And you fold it in to hem it, and then you fold it down and hem it there. And you flat seam it. So you get a bit of the back on the front. And then you blanket stitch this down here to hold it flat. Make sense? Good. And then that's your quilt done, basically. And you don't need to bias bind it or anything like that, because who's got time for that in this day and age? Basically, the back acts as binding. And then you fell stitch it down. So I'm going to wrap seam, felled stitch. So I'll have to work out, this is 2.5 inches, so I'll want this excess bit here, it needs to be about the same, so 2.5 times 2 is 5. I've actually folded that 3 times, and it'll need to be actually a bit bigger because we'll need to fold in the edge, or will it? No, 2.5. And that. And we'll lose 1/2 inch off that and 1/2 inch off this. Right, okay. No, that's not right. Oh my God, me and maths. We want this to end up 2. We want that to be 2 and we want that to be 2. So 5 inches. So you do a 1/2 there. You fold it down 2 and 2 and you do a 1/2 there. There we go. So we've got a 1/2, a 2, a 2 and a 1/2. Me and maths, we're not friends. Which is probably why I ended up with so many squares that didn't mix with the rest. Because all the other squares I cut were 15 by 15. But because of my cutting mat, because it's stupid, I ended up having some squares that were 15 by 13. So I cut all the 15 by 13s down to 13 to make that one. Because somebody in their wisdom decided they were going to make the cutting mat so that it was always cut in half. But one side of it is 200, which is a nice number to cut in half all the time. But the length is 28. Hi, Lisa. The length is 28. Not 30, like you would think, but 28. It's a ridiculous idea. So every time I turned it, because I'm left-handed, I turn things that way instead of turning them that way, like right-handed people. Or, no, I was turning it that way instead of that way. So anyway, I ended up with squares that weren't squares. So I ended up cutting them down, which is why I've got another smaller quilt there. But I'm sure Maddie will love this quilt because it's a pirate quilt and she's my little pirate girl. So Maddie will have a nice thermal blanket for her bed. And I've got some green fabrics that I don't actually like, but everything Scooby has is green. So I will probably do some kind of patchwork thing with those and turn them into a little metre square blanket for his bed. And he can have black on the back so that I don't have to worry about it not matching anything. Oh. Yeah, so that's my project book. I'm not going to rewrite any of this just yet because I might make changes to it. So I'm not going to put any of it in pen just yet. I'll do that when the project's finished. I'd already done all this bit, but I've got other bits that I'm going to do. And like I said, I'll take a photo of it and put it in there. And I'll take a photo of the finished quilt and put it in here. That'll fit nicely there, actually. Photo. And then this one will fit nicely about there. Photo. Yeah. So there's another idea for a traveller's notebook you're not using, is to use it to write up your projects. And then this squares one I can use for working out the actual size of my quilt and how big it's going to be, because as you've seen, my math sucks. So my other quilt, so my Halloween quilt, you know what, let's do a page for the one that we've already worked out so that I know how to figure it out. So my spooky quilt is, I use both centimetres and inches, by the way, which I know is going to confuse the heck out of everybody because Americans use inches and Europeans use millimetres, which is centimetres, but we use centimetres and inches here because that's the way we roll. So I use a combination of both. This could get confusing, but bear with it. Okay, so each square is 13 by 13 centimetres, and my seam allowance is 1/4 of an inch. That might seem odd, but my cutting mat is in centimetres and the measuring on my sewing machine on the foot is in inches. I've just noticed there is actually a millimetres at the bottom, but I've never noticed that before. I usually run it according to the ones next to the foot because they're easy to see. So there's no maths involved in working this bit out, but there's some maths involved in working out what 13 centimetres minus 1/2 an inch is. But 1/2 an inch in centimetres is, I believe, 1 1/4 or something like that. Okay, so quarter inch in millimetres is 6.3 millimetres. That doesn't sound right. Oh, it's 1/2 an inch, right. So 6.3 times 2 is 12.6, which is 13 millimetres. So I wasn't far off. So it's 2 times 1/4 inch. So if we call that 1.5, that means these squares, after seaming, are 10 by 10. That seems about right. They look about 10 by 10 to me. Does it boggle your mind that I'm better at doing it, looking at it and guesstimating it, than I am at actually trying to measure it? Fortunately, I have a tape measure here. This is why I keep this one. It's an old dressmaker's tape measure that has inches and centimetres. 10 centimetres, yeah, which is just shy of 4 inches. So while I'm at it, let's measure this. It's 1.25 inch, almost 4 centimetres. So with the 1.5, I'm going to round it up to 1.5. It doesn't make that much difference. So 5.5. Okay, I need to write that down. Hang on. So the jelly roll strips. Okay, no, let's finish this bit first. So they're 13 by 13 and they go down to 'So we cut 13 by 13 and they end up 10 by 10. And then the strips start off five and a half and they end up 4 minus 1.5 is going to be 3, 2.5. I think. Okay, so all I've got to do with this one is do it the other way around now. So my actual squares are 15 by 15. I'm going to lose 1.5 approximately. It's 1.3, but I'm going to call it 1.5 because my seams aren't straight anyway. 1.5, so that's going to be 12 by 12 by the time it's finished. 1.5 off the top and bottom is 3. 15 minus 3 is 12.5. Yes. And I have 100 squares. So my actual thing is going to end up 120 by 120. So it's going to be about 40 inches. I'm getting good at this. 40 inches is... That seems like a lot to lose. Maybe I need to do smaller seam allowances. Because it doesn't have to be 1/4 inch seam allowance. I could do a much smaller seam allowance. Pammy bought me a coffee. Oh, and the little #1 fox. Thank you. That's so cute. I love him with his little paintbrush. Oh, thank you, Pam. Oh, Susan asked me about my car, and I remembered that because I don't think it's this Pam, I think it's another Pam. I have to send a little pack of stickers to, but I haven't been able to get to the post office because I didn't have my car. I'm getting my car back tomorrow. I'm very annoyed with my previous mechanic. And it turns out that the last RAC driver who I spoke to was correct. Because I said to him, do you think I need a new battery? And he said, I think you need a new mechanic. It was just a throwaway comment, but I think he was right. First off, the coolant disappearing, which I have said all along, coolant just disappearing. Like literally not gradually disappearing, but going from completely full to completely empty is one of two things. You've either got a hole in your radiator, or the coolant is going into the compression chamber, which means your head gasket's gone. And I have been saying this since day one. You're having your coffee, which reminded me that I needed one. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I will go and get myself one tomorrow morning. Because I'm getting my car back. Yay! Anyway. So yeah, I've been saying this since day one, but Ant said he'd pressure tested the whole system, there were no leaks. So I said to him, they've got this clever thing, because of the compressor fluid and everything else and the way engines work, you put this dye into the coolant and it tells you if the compressor has a leak. And Ant has been telling me since day one that he's done this and there's nothing, he can't find anything wrong. Well, move to the beginning of the month. My car, I rang Ant on the 8th and said, my effing car won't start, or words to that effect. It may have been a little more cobalt blue than that. And I said, you need to sort this out because this is ridiculous. The battery is under warranty. And the RAC kept telling me there was a problem with the battery. Ant kept telling me there wasn't. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who to believe here. But I'm tempted to go with the RAC man because the guy who's telling me there's nothing wrong with the battery is also telling me he mysteriously can't figure out where he bought it from. So even though it's under warranty, he's reluctant to replace it. Which to me says, fell off the back of a wagon. Or fell off another vehicle. So I'm annoyed about that he charged me full price for a new battery when he hasn't actually given me even a decent battery, let alone a new battery. It's been up to Wayne because it was booked in. I spoke to Ant on the 8th. He finally managed to get it booked in with Wayne on the 28th. But when the 28th came, he didn't come to get it. He didn't turn up. And for almost 2 weeks, I couldn't get hold of him. I still can't get hold of him. It's 3 weeks later. I haven't been able to get hold of him since the 20th of September. So we're a month. I haven't been able to get hold of him for a month. I've given up now. He can call me back when he's ready. I suspect I won't hear from him because I've called him out on his game now. But, you know, the 28th came and went, and Wayne is hard to get my car booked in with in the first place. You have to wait 2 to 3 weeks because he's so popular. And he's the only electrical mechanic in the area. So you've got to wait to get in with him unless you're a regular. So I called Wayne and said, look, Ant missed the appointment. It's not my fault. He was coming to start the car for me and get it up to you. If he'd told me, if he'd actually told me that he couldn't come and get it, I would have got the RAC to come out and start it and I would have brought it up to you. But he didn't tell me. He didn't contact me. I've not heard from him. And Wayne really kindly said, this was on the Friday, he said, I can't get you in immediately. The best I can manage is Wednesday next week. But if you can wait till Wednesday next week, I will come up and I will get the car. And we will go from there. So I spoke to Wayne about what he'd done with the car before, because Ant told me that the car had gone up to Wayne for a 1-hour diagnostic session, which was £140, and that was specifically to have the battery tested overnight, have the electricals tested for any surging or problems, and to see if there was a drain on the car. Right? Which is reasonable. I thought that was reasonable. And then to fix it. Assuming it wasn't anything major. Just, you know, they thought there was a short in the wiring somewhere. Well, I realised that every time I switched the engine off, when you took the key out of the ignition, all the lights on the dashboard came back up. And I thought, aha, that could be part of the issue. So I just mentioned it to Ant, that I'd noticed that that happens. And I'd never had it on any other car. And he said, yeah, that shouldn't be happening. So it went in for this £140 diagnostics test. Wayne found there was indeed a short on the clock, which he then disconnected. So I've got no temperature sensor or clock or anything on my dashboard. But I always have my phone with me anyway, so that doesn't matter. My phone sits actually... There's like an alcove on my dashboard, like this. And the clock face is in there. And I have a thing here that I put my phone in. So I can't actually see the clock anyway. So I was like, yeah, just disconnect it. It's fine. No need to replace it. I don't use it anyway. And even when I do use it, I forget to change it when the clocks change. So he did that, and we still had problems. Well, when I spoke to Wayne to take the car in the other day, he said, that's not what Ant asked me to do. Because I said to him, it's already been up for diagnostics with you and everything, and you said there wasn't anything wrong with it, but you disengaged the clock. And he said, no. Ant told me there was a short on the clock and asked me to disconnect the clock. And I charged him 25 quid for it. Ooh! So the £140 I paid for a diagnostics test didn't actually happen. And I said, but I've got proof that he charged me £140 for a diagnostic test at Wayne Massey. And I sent him the email with the invoice. And he said, I will do you a diagnostic test this time, and I will do it for free. I was like, well, you don't have to do it for free, but, you know, give me a discount, that'll be fine. He went, no, you've been hoodwinked. I'm going to do it for free. We will find out what the problem is, and we will take it from there. So he did the diagnostic test for free for me. Bless him. Thank you so much. Wayne is an absolute diamond. I can now see why he's so popular. On top of the £140, Ant told me that I needed this new battery because the battery was dead. The previous battery was dead. And it was under warranty, and I knew it was under warranty because I went and bought the battery and had it fitted. I took it up to Halfords. I got fed up with Ant telling me that the battery was fine, and the RAC was telling me it wasn't. This is an ongoing thing with my car. My car's had 8 new batteries since I had it. But how many of the batteries are actually new and good? Because all but one of them, all but one of them is 2. I've got a new one on it now. All but 2 of them have been fitted by Ant. So how many of them were actually any good? That's what I'm wondering. I know the first one was no good. It was a second-hand battery. He said, let's not put a brand new battery on it. Let's take what we know is a good second-hand battery, throw that on there and see if it works. And it didn't. So then 8 batteries later, 9 batteries later now, but 8 batteries later, I had put a battery on at Halfords. I took it up there, I said, test this car, test the battery. The RAC are telling me it's knackered. My mechanic is telling me it isn't. The RAC is telling me I need a new mechanic. No, actually, it was the guy at Halfords. Because I said to him, do I need a new battery or not? And he said, yes, and you need a new mechanic. I can't really report into trading standards because he's done so many repairs for nothing for me outside of the problems that we've had with the car. Yes, he's missed the problems with the actual car that were the actual problems, and he's overcharged me for work that hasn't been done, but he's also done other stuff for me that he's done completely free. So I'm not going to report him, but I am going to give him a whole over the coals, and I'm not going back to him ever. Except I'm not going to tell him I'm not going back to him. I'm going to tell him off, and then every time my car runs out of coolant, I'm going to take it back to him and get him to fill it up. So I'm going to get my money's worth in coolant, which I need. But I'm not going to tell him that. Anyway. Oh, what a bloody saga this is. Maybe I should do a story time. The story time of my car. And it annoys me because I'm actually familiar with cars. I understand cars. I used to work in a garage. I don't understand electrics. I don't know enough about my electrics to know, and I couldn't tell if there was a problem with the electrics or if I knew there was a problem with the head gasket. I've been saying for years there was a problem with the head gasket, but he kept telling me there wasn't. But I know that if coolant disappears and there's no hole in the radiator and no leak in the system, then it's going into the compressor. It's the only other place it can go. So I was asking, if the coolant's disappearing into the compressor and every time I have this problem with the battery, the coolant is empty, is the coolant going into the compressor causing the battery drain? And for years he's been telling me, no, that's not it, that's not it, that's not it. Well, one diagnostic test later with Wayne, and he says, you have several problems with this car. One, your battery's dead. He said it wasn't even a good battery to start with. Now it's a really not a good battery. And I told him about the fact that it was supposed to be under warranty with Ant. But the Ant kept messing me about and I couldn't get hold of him. And now he was saying he couldn't find out where he'd got the battery from in the first place. So he couldn't replace it until he figured out where he'd bought it from and blah, blah, blah. And if I left it more than another 6 weeks, then it wouldn't be under warranty anymore anyway. And he said, I'll be very surprised if this battery's got warranty because I don't think you would have bought it anywhere. So he charged me £132 to put this super extra double battery on it that was supposed to be brand new and under 2-year warranty. And the battery's crap. The warranty, as far as we can tell, doesn't exist. He probably took it off another car. Wayne's guess it came off a van. That he pulled it off a van that had perhaps been in a car wreck and it was the first battery it ever had, so he took which in theory is a new battery, but you don't know how much mileage that van's done for that battery to be wearing out. Anyway, I'm sorry if you're bored with this story, but this is the saga I've been through. So, £270 to Ant to get absolutely nothing done. £140 free diagnostic from Wayne because Ant had charged me for it and Wayne had said, this isn't right, I'll do it for free. Only to be told, yes, your head gasket is going. Now, the dye thing, they literally, it's like a litmus test. If you've done litmus tests at school, it's virtually the same thing. They have these specialised strips that they use, that they put into the fluid in the coolant tank, and when they pull it out, if it's a certain colour, then it's got a leak into the compressor. Simple as that. And he said, yes, it's leaking. He can't tell me how bad it is. He can't tell me, it doesn't tell you how good it is or how bad it is. It could be on its way out. It could be a minor leak. It could be the whole thing is going to go any time. I do know that it runs cold. It doesn't run hot ever. It never gets to even halfway. He said if it starts getting to halfway when it's running, or if on a long journey it starts to go halfway or above, then I need to just stop the car and let it go cold before I try it, run it any further. Because he said that's basically the head gasket going, overheating. If the head gasket actually overheats and blows, the car's dead. So he's told me, I said to him, if I was your daughter, I always do this with mechanics because it always gets them. I said, if I was your daughter and this was my car and I had to keep this car on the road for now, what would you say? And he said, I would say, buy lots of coolant, put a new battery on it and run it until it dies. And in the meantime, save up for a new car. Don't do any expensive repairs to it. You know, if it needs a new tyre or something like that, that's a regular expense. That's not on top of. But don't do anything. He said if the exhaust goes or the clutch goes or anything, don't bother to repair it. Keep running it until the battery's on. It's a 5-year warranty. He's given me a 5-year warranty on the battery. He said if it's already been running for 5 years with a blown head gasket, then obviously the way you drive it is not causing any additional issues. So all you've got to do is make sure you don't run out of coolant. He said the alternator, oh yeah, that was another one. This was one of the free jobs that Ant said he'd done. He took it up to Mark. There's 3 of them that they all work. They know each other and they give each other jobs. Mark takes stuff off cars and reconditions it. So he does things like starter motors and alternators and stuff like that. Supposedly, the car went up to Mark for 2 weeks. And Mark had a good thorough look at all the bits that could be reconditioned and said they were fine. This was no more than 2 years ago. I told Wayne that and he said, I will give Mark a clip round the ear because apparently Mark is related to Wayne. This is how they all know each other. Because Mark and Ant are friends and Mark is related to Wayne. He said, I'm going to give Mark a clip round the ear for that one because there's no way this alternator was okay 2 years ago. Because it's got an intermittent fault on it. And I said to him, is there a possibility that... Oh, I've just realised it's doing top chat instead of all chat, so I'm missing chats. I'm sorry. There we go. I said, is there a possibility that it's occasionally when I run it, it doesn't charge the battery at all? And he said, I wouldn't be surprised. So... I now know what the problem is with my car. So, if you made it all the way through that, congratulations. I've been dealing with this for 5 years. So, he put a new battery on it. I paid him for a new battery. I said, look, I'm fed up with this. We can't get hold of Ant. I need my car back. Just put a new battery on it. At least then I know that the car will start. Because the battery is good, and if there's any problem again with the battery is under warranty with you. He said, yes, even if it goes, anytime it goes, just bring it back to me and I will immediately swap it for a brand new battery. We'll do it there and then for you. I'll get one of the lads to do it. It's a 5-minute job. Sorted. So even if my car is actually killing batteries, which is a possibility, we still don't know if the batteries were shit or if the car is just a battery killer. But it does have a full, proper, 100% brand new battery on it with a 5-year warranty now. So it's cost me £100 to do that. But even that's cheaper than the 130 odd quid that Ant charged me. And I know, Wayne is known in this area for being the electrical mechanic. It's more than it's worth for him to tell me he's put a brand new battery on it and he hasn't. And I've been out to it and I've checked it and it is a brand new battery. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, nah. Trust but verify. Which is what I was doing with Ant. And up to a point, he was okay. But then when I stopped verifying everything, that's when I started finding out that that's the point where things were not getting done as he said they were getting done. Anyway. So now I've paid £100 to have a new battery put on. I will be going back to Ant regularly for coolant. Wayne has said that he's not going to mention that there is a problem with the head gasket to Ant, so that I can keep going back and just going, it's out of coolant again, what the hell's going on? And he can just keep filling it up with coolant until I've had my full 140 quid's worth. He owes me that much at least. And in the meantime, I now have to save up for a new car. Long story short. So, TLDR, my car is going to die at some point. I need to save up for a new one. Your car's a mechanic and you wouldn't even trust him with it. Yeah. Mechanics and plumbers. Everything you ask them, it starts with, and then it's like, just pick a number. You can go to one garage and they'll tell you a job is 200 quid. And you can go to another garage and they'll tell you it's 300 quid. You can go to another garage and they'll tell you it's 50 quid, but then they add on so much stuff that ends up costing you more than the 300 quid one would. But my car is now registered with Wayne. My car is a diesel, yeah. And they do run differently, yes. This is part of the issue I've had, because if it was a petrol car, I would know what the problems were, and I would know if I was being told things that weren't true, as it were. But with a diesel, I'm not 100% sure that I know when I'm being told something wrong. I don't admit that, obviously. But if it was a petrol and they said, oh, this, and this, like, I took my first car was a Polo Fox Sport, and I took it in for a regular service. And they told me it needed a new fan belt, a new alternator belt, and a new something else. And I said, oh, really? He said, yeah, it's gonna cost about £230. I'm like, that's weird, because I thought it had a V8 alternator belt that was all in one. And he went, hang on a minute, let me go and check. And he went away, and he came back, and he went, I think I got the wrong car. Yes, you're right, it is a single belt, it's £60. I'm like, yeah, try it, come on. It's always a good idea to have a vague idea. It's like, I know my car is a V8. So I know that when somebody quotes me a ridiculous amount for a head gasket, that's not going to be right. Because it's only a 4-hour job. So it's more if it needs skimming. Obviously, it doubles. But if somebody said to me that a head gasket job on my car would be more than £500, I'd laugh at them. I was quoted 900, but that was including skimming, which is about right. 450, double it if it needs skimming. So at least that quote was ballpark. But the thing is, now I'm at the point where do I spend £900 getting a new head gasket put on it, knowing that the car doesn't have any other problems? Other than it needs a new alternator at some point, but alternators are not that expensive. Or do I save up, spend another £1,500 on a new car, and buy somebody else's second-hand problems? Because that's the thing. People don't get rid of people don't have second-hand cars for sale that don't have problems. If a car is a good runner, people hang on to it. They either keep it, or if they get a new car, they hand it on to somebody else who can use it in their family. They don't just sell a good car. So any second-hand car you buy, even if it's come from a garage, there's going to be a problem with it. And it's usually one of these problems that nobody really knows what the problem is. Or they do, but nobody wants to tell you that your head gasket's going, even though you know that the head gasket's going from the first day you drive it. No? I've spent so long explaining that story, but everybody was asking me about it, and I've been holding on to tell you the whole story in one go, because that's it now. Basically, if the car doesn't start again, there is something else going wrong with it that is causing the battery drain that Wayne hasn't been able to find yet. So he said, if it gets to a point where it doesn't start again, bring it back in and we'll look at that alternator a bit more closely, because it could well be that when you first start the car, the alternator should immediately kick in, and mine doesn't. So I've been driving my car every 2 to 3 days for at least 20 to 30 minutes, or 10 miles, depending on which comes first. Because we've got a D road. If you can get on the D road, you don't need to drive that far, because you can get it into 5th gear. You can get up to 70 miles an hour and it charges faster. But apparently that's not enough for my car, because for the first 10 to 15 minutes it doesn't actually charge. Yeah, if it was a proper garage and everything else, I would say and I would report it. But he's a friend of a friend who did me a favour, and to be honest, the amount he's charged me extra is probably the amount of free work he's done on the car. I'm annoyed that he didn't tell me the truth, but at the same time, I'm willing to just shout at him and then just say, that's it, I'm not coming back to you ever again, and make him pay coolant. On this occasion, I'm willing to let it slide. But I'm not going back to him again. Wayne's told me that if I have any problems with the car, I need to take it back to him and he will get the alternator checked. Because an alternator is actually not a big job. For a couple of £100, I could put a new alternator on and it would probably be okay until the head gasket goes. The question is, if I spend a couple of £100 on the alternator, am I not a new alternator, but having the existing alternator reconditioned? If I do that, there's a good chance that having taken it apart to do that, the head gasket will go almost immediately. And I could end up spending a couple of £100 on the car, and then the head gasket goes 2 weeks later. Or I could spend the money on the alternator and the head gasket could continue being fine for another 5 years because it's only a minor leak. But we don't know, because you can't tell that until you take the head gasket apart. Now do you see why I've just been really stressed for the last few weeks? Because this is what I've been dealing with. But one good thing about Mercury Retrograde, they've got to the bottom of the problem. I want to play with this, but I don't know what I want to fiddle, but I want to do something with my hands, but I don't. I like chatting with you guys. I like just sitting here doing my thing, but maybe I'll do one of my quotes or something. What shall I do? I kind of fancy doing this one, because this one is very... I've been following the... you know, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing? Oh my god, that woman. She's evil. Anyway, I've been following that because I studied law and I'm nosy, and I've actually been reading the court case papers, and it's crazy. And now I'm invested, so I'm reading all the Virginia case papers as well, which is even crazier. Anyway, this was written in The Murder of Marie Roget by Edgar Allan Poe in 1947. When did he write Marie Roget? Can't see it on here. Anyway, early 1800s, right? Listen to this. We should bear in mind that in general, it is the object of our newspapers rather to create sensation, to make a point, than to further the cause of truth. Fake news is not a new thing, guys. Who knew? Honestly. Anyway. Oh, another job I have to do, which you've probably figured out. I put my dreads back in. These are just synth dreads at the moment. As you can tell by the fact that they don't match and everything. And I've got to... They're just plaited in. But I'm redoing my dreads. My real dreads. And I've got proper dread extensions to put in. So that's a job I'm going to do. I've got 38 to do all together, 36 to do all together. So I was pretty much figuring I'll just do one a day or something like that, because it's quite a job. You have to sit doing this for about 20 minutes while you fix it in, which is quite difficult to do. But I can do like 2 or 3 a day for the next month, and then they'll all be done. I'm going back to dreads. I'm fed up with my hair looking like crap all the time, and it's very thin and everything, and I've got bald patches and stuff, and not because of my dreads, by the way. My medication causes bald patches. Alopecia. I've got medical alopecia. And having dreads kind of helps cover that, because you have more hair. Plus, I like my dreads. I miss my dreads. I've had dreads more than I've not had dreads in my life. So, and when I see old friends of mine, they're always like, "Oh, you don't have your dreads anymore." They're always really surprised that I don't have my dreads. So, yeah, my dreads are coming back. Don't want to see the colour, because I'm changing the colour. The black. I like the black. I love the black. I love my black. But I'm getting older, and I'm thinking of future colours and things, and what I've noticed with this time of having black hair is it's starting to make me look a bit haggard. You know, as you get older, you can't have such dark hair. So the black, I haven't had dreads in years. I took my dreads out when I was in this flat 2.5 years ago. It was in the January. It was spring. Let me do it the other way around. I've been in this flat 5 years this August, just gone. And I had dreads for the first 3 summers I was here. And I moved in the August. So I had dreads when I moved in, and I had dreads for the first 2 summers I was here after that. So basically 3 years, and then I took them out. So approximately, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years, but something like that, I've not had dreads for. So I know I posted in 2017 that I missed my dreads already. So I'm pretty sure that it was sort of August, September-ish, 2017 that I took them out. And I'm done with it. I've had normal hair for far too long. I'm going back to them. For those of you who are not familiar, do you want to see? I loved my dreads, but they were so heavy. I had to take them out eventually, because they were causing me neck pain. Because they were so long and heavy. I'd had them for like 9 years at that point. And they were just crazy. There you go. That's what my dreads were like. And under here, I don't know if you can see because it's dark, but all down here, these ones at the bottom were really long. I could sit on them. All the black ones were really long, and all the red ones were shorter because I had layers. So, but yeah, I miss my dreads. It's kind of what I'm known for, is having dreads, and I really miss them. And before anybody comes at me with the whole cultural appropriation thing, don't even bother. Okay? 1, you can't culturally appropriate a religious tradition. Yes, Rastafarians grow dreads. No, that doesn't mean nobody else can have dreads. There are plenty of people in the world who don't have dreads, who do have dreads, who aren't Rastafarian. 2, yes, during the slavery times, black people dreaded their hair and so on, etc., etc. However, before that, because remember, slavery was like, what, 400 years ago? Before that, people had dreads. So yes, black people put their hair in dreads as a protest to slavery 400 years ago, but plenty of people had dreads before that, including Celts, of which is one half of my heritage, and Gypsies, which is the other half of my heritage. So don't come at me with the cultural appropriation thing, because this is part of my culture. And yes, I'm putting them in with extensions at the moment because my hair is 6 inches long, but that's because I don't want to have short Fraggle hair for the next God knows how long. I want Insta dreads, I'm putting them in, okay? But I've had long dreads that were started from scratch. I know none of my followers would actually come at me with the whole cultural appropriation thing, because cultural appropriation is not a thing, people. It's only a thing if you're actually appropriating culture from somebody else. If I was putting dreads in as a protest against how I feel enslaved by the current capitalistic society or some crap like that, absolutely that would be cultural appropriation. Me putting in dreads as a protest against slavery is cultural appropriation. Me wearing dreads as part of my own heritage is not cultural appropriation. Just because I'm white doesn't mean I can't have dreads. So there endeth that lesson. It's like the more appropriately for us witchy types in here, it's like the idea that if you are smudging something, then you are culturally appropriating Native American culture. No, you're not. You shouldn't be using white sage, because white sage is sacred to the Native Americans and it is a rare plant. You can manage with green sage if you are not Native American. Common sage or green sage, you can grow it on your windowsill, you can buy it at the shop, there's no problem with it. Have at it, it's fine. But leave the white sage for the Native Americans because it's sacred to them. But if you're smudging and you're not actually doing it in the form of a Native American powwow ritual and, you know, doing the whole thing as a Native American would, then you are not smudging like a Native American, so it is not cultural appropriation. Because guess what? Until us English invaded the Americas, Native Americans didn't call it smudging. They have their own name for it. And even now, the elders don't call it smudging. Native Americans don't call it smudging. We went over there with our medieval English word of what we call smoke cleansing, smudging, which is basically burning herbs to either cleanse the air or to pass things through the smoke to ritually cleanse them. That's smudging. Native Americans have their ritual, which is not smudging. It's called smudging by us idiots who don't know what the real word for it is. Because we went over there and went, oh look, that's like what we do when we go do smudging. Sorry, I get on my soapbox about this thing. I know I do, but unless you are literally trying to take somebody else's culture and make it your own, you are not cultural appropriation. And if you are, then we want our tarot cards back. How about them apples? Cultural appropriation is the word that people use when they desperately want to have their own identity, but they don't know what it is. It's an American phenomenon. The rest of the world, we're just like, what are you talking about? I live in an area that is predominantly Rastafarian, Hindu, and Caribbean. There's a little coffee shop up the road that I go to, that I go and sit in. James, the owner, is Rastafarian Caribbean, or Caribbean Rastafarian. And the day I walked in and said, you know, I actually said to him, you know, I know this is a Caribbean cafe and I don't want to be inappropriate, but I really need a coffee. Is there any problem with me being here? And he went, no, come on in. And, you know, got chatting, because my mum and dad have been out to the Caribbean. They travel all around the Caribbean. So I know a few places and stuff. And we were talking about, you know, all sorts of things. And he had a map, actually, of the island of I can't remember what the island's name, but the town is called Grenville, which is my dad's name. And he's got a picture of him. I have a picture of my dad standing next to the Welcome to Grenville sign. And I showed it to this guy and we were chatting about that, you know. And he commented on my dreads. I had my dreads at the time and he commented on how nice they looked. And he actually said to me, oh, you don't do any of that that weird waxing stuff that the hippies do you? And I'm like, no. It's just knotted hair. I don't put anything in them, I just wash them. They say, oh yeah, that's good. You don't put anything in your dreads. You don't put anything in them. And he was complimenting me on how nice they were. And that's from one of the blackest people I've ever seen. He is so dark. He's got that really rich, dark ebony skin that it's just, it almost is purple. It's so dark. It's beautiful. And he was complimenting me on my dreads. So, you know, fight me. Isn't it cultural appreciation if I think so much of dress or actions that I adopt them? I don't think it goes as far as appreciation unless you're doing it with a certain amount of reverence. There's cultural appropriation, which is just a myth. There's cultural appreciation, and there's a lot of grey space in between where people do stuff that they don't actually realise is not technically part of their culture. Witches call it eclecticism, you know? I think because America's basic history was there were people who lived there, the British went over and took it over, some of them split off into another group and decided to be Americans and kick the rest of us out. And other than that, America hasn't really been invaded, as it were. Whereas in Europe, we're so used to this multicultural, oh yeah, that town's a Roman place, and that town's a Saxon place, and that one's invaded by the Vikings, and this one is something to do with something else. You know, we are used to it in Europe. Everybody invaded everybody else. That's how it works. So the more north you go, the more Viking blood you find. And the further south you go, the more Anglo-Saxon you find. And the further east you go, the more Roman you find, because that's where the Romans landed, you know. That's how it is. And then you've got the Celts over in Ireland. So the west coast is all Celtic influence. And then it goes into Scotland, where you've got the Scottish Celts. And it's so multicultural over here, and I don't think Americans understand that. Americans tend to be, you're either black, white, or Latino. Oh, and by the way, there's also the First Nations and indigenous people, but they tend to forget about them. You do have so many cultures living in America, but they're all people who have gone to America by choice to be American. Whereas here, we just get them invading. Yeah, Mick Hucknall is Celtic, through and through. Look at the colour of his hair. You've only got to look at the colour of his hair to know that he's got Celtic blood. You've only got to have a minimum of Celtic blood in you to know that if you don't brush your hair for 2 days, you have dreads. Which is what happens to me. If I don't brush my hair, I get dreads. Simple as that. Yes, I'm putting them in to start them off. But also, I've been wearing wigs because I haven't brushed my hair in 6 months. So by the time I actually got to putting these extensions in, my hair was already dreading. I just had to separate it out and put the extensions in. You call it diversity, but you're not even sure if that's proper. Cultural diversity is what happens when you get a lot of mix. We have, tends to happen in metropolitan areas like London. London is very culturally diverse because it's a place where lots of people go to by choice. From every walk of life, every culture, every religion, you can find a little corner of London that belongs to every community, every country, every type of people there is, I'm sure. But European blood has been mixed and matched so many times, right the way back to classical history. And I don't think America understands that. Or not America, but modern day Americans tend to think of it as oh, we came over from Ireland, so we're 1/8 Irish and 1/4 German. And, you know, they latch on to their culture, their ancestry. You know, they've got to be 1/8 and 1/4 of this, that, and the other, and, you know. But it's really interesting because it doesn't work like that here. You are of Celtic descent. That doesn't mean you're Irish. I'm not Irish. I wasn't born in Ireland. My mum is not Irish. She was born in London. But you'd take one look at her and go, oh, you're Celtic. You know? But for actual Celts, Scottish or Irish, you have to have been born in Scotland or Ireland. That's how they look at it. If you weren't born in Scotland or Ireland, then you're not Scottish or Irish. You're not a Scottish or Irish Celt. And yet, I was watching I follow, oh, what is his name? Something or other Cree. He's a Canadian man, and he's First Nation. I would butcher the name if I even tried to pronounce it, but he's part of the Cree. And he classes himself as Indigenous First Nation Canadian. And he said, stop asking people what percentage or what amount of native they have in them. If you are native, you are native. It doesn't matter if your great-great-great-great-grandmother was native and there's nothing else. If you identify with that part of your ancestry, you are entitled to call yourself native. And if you come to us saying, you know, here's my ancestry, my great-great-great-great-great-grandmother was native, and I want to learn about where I come from, we will teach you. So, you know, it's a completely different thing. It's like, you know, you've got one side going, oh, you must be this and you must be that, and what percentage are you? Because if you're not so much percent, or you're not third generation this, that, or the other, then you're not really Native American. And then you've got the Native Americans going, no, if you've got any Native American blood in you, and you identify with that, you are Native American. Everything in America seems to be based off nationality. It's crazy. Where every other country has class, or, you know, the rich-poor divide, America has the rich-poor divide, and then it has the black, white, and brown divide as well. It's mad. It's mad. The only way you know what you are is DNA testing, and you plan to do that this year. Yeah, some people are so Heinz 57. I mean, I'm a bit of a Heinz 57 myself, so I know what it's like. I've got all sorts on one side and all sorts on the other. But I do know what my heritage is. I do know that I have Celtic heritage. I do know that some of my Celtic heritage is Viking. I know that some of my English heritage is actually Canadian. I know that some of my Irish side of my family were Gypsy, and also that part of it was Romanian. So I have these different cultures, but I'm just me. And as long as it's in my ancestry, then I'm going to identify with it. And if it's part of somebody else's ancestry or whatever, you know, I find Native American culture fascinating. I'm not going to adopt any of it. You know, I'm not going to suddenly start doing powwows and stuff. Although there are witches who do powwows. Dutch, Pennsylvania Dutch, yeah, they adopted and integrated with the local tribes, and they started to do powwows, which is why a lot of Dutch witches do powwows. It's very fascinating. But I love learning about other cultures. I was watching, I'm going to have to find his name because he's so fascinating. You have to go and check him out. What is his handle? He's on Instagram, of course. Notorious Cree. That's his name. James Jones. He talks about, like, showing how... He does that TikTok thing where you throw your shoe up in the air and you change into costume. And they do it with their Native American regalia, I found out it's called. It's not a costume. A costume is a made-up thing that you wear. It's not a... A costume is something that's made up that you wear for fun. There's another word, I can't remember what it is something that you wear for fashion, and this is something that you wear for ceremonial purposes, so it's called regalia. I learnt that from him, and he's fabulous. He explains why he wears his hair in 2 plaits, and that he would never allow somebody else to braid his hair, because you should braid your hair with love and respect. So you would only allow somebody that you love and respect, or who loves and respects you, to braid your hair. He's fascinating. He was doing all the... And he does it in such a fun way. He was doing all the different regalia outfits and what Hogwarts house they would go into. And the Ravenclaw, I was looking at them like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure about these. But then he put on the one that... this is going to play sound. I'm going to try not to get myself... Oh, no, it's not. Right. So when he's got it all on, I'll show you. It's quite quick. But this big blue one with all the bustles and stuff. And he was talking about all the different things and how he's showing you how he puts it on. And he tells you what each individual bit is called. This is the Ravenclaw one that he picked. I was like, oh yeah, I love that. Garb. Thank you, Steph. Garb. Yeah. An outfit or garb is what you wear for fashion. But this is regalia because it's ceremonial. And it's fascinating. He talks you through all the different bits, like how he gets his beadwork done, and how whether you make your own regalia or whether you get it done by somebody else or someone in your family, or is it passed down. And oh, he's amazing. Notorious Cree, go follow him if you're interested in Native American culture. He is Canadian First Nation, not American First Nation. I don't know if that makes a difference. I know that they have First Nation and Subcontinent First Nation, subcontinent meaning America. But I think, for want of a better word, racially, all Native Americans are basically very similar, in the same that all English people are very similar. And it's just like the tribal differences based on where they lived. I think. Don't quote me on that. His hair, you know, next to nothing. When your mother passed this September, you found out your grandfather, her dad, had been married 4 times, and you still have other relations out there you would love to meet. Oh my God. His hair was very important to him, and loved to have his mother or sister braid his hair. So that could have been something that he learned either from Native American culture, that you would always have somebody that you love and trust braid your hair for you. Or it could have just been something that was a local tradition that he picked up on that he liked. And he went, no, I like that. I like the idea of only allowing people I trust. And I found out, it's fascinating the things you find out. Because he said, Native Americans have long hair. Somebody asked, why do Native American men have long hair? And he said, well, we all have long hair. Some of us cut it off because we have to, or we're okay with that. But the Native American guy I was talking about, yeah, he only allows his family to braid his hair, or he braids it himself. And he has different types of braids according to what he's doing or yeah. It's fascinating. Anyway, I've learned so much from him. But he said they all have long hair, and the reason they all have long hair is because they only cut it off as part of the grief process. So Native Americans don't cut their hair unless they have to for work or safety or important or through choice or whatever. If they have long hair, then they only cut it through grief. And that's, I think he called it tailing. I don't remember the exact word he used, but he gave the impression that they literally take the bottom end of their hair and they cut it off. Yeah, having somebody else plait your hair with love and respect gives you their strength. He's absolutely fascinating. I've learned more from him in a couple of weeks than I have from reading all sorts of books. He's amazing. Go follow him. Oh, this turned into a very chatty week, didn't it? But, So if you're watching this as a replay and you've made it this far, thank you for listening to me talk for God knows how long. Oh, hang on, I've got to... For North American Indians, it's by region. East versus desert versus west. Yes, because it's different climates, basically, isn't it? Their tribes adapt according to the different climates that those areas lived in. But I think the Canadians tend to just be basically, if they're not Inuit specifically, which is the really cold bit, then they are all classed as First Nation and they have different tribes within that, I think. But don't quote me on that. I don't know enough about it. I'm still learning. I'm learning. I find it interesting to learn about other people's cultures, and I'm so happy that he's willing to share all this, because there's a big thing at the moment where you're not allowed to ask. You know, you have to go and find out, but you're not allowed to actually ask anybody anything. Which is just, to me, that's like chip on your shoulder much, you know? If you want to know what I know about my heritage and you're genuinely interested in asking questions, I will tell you what I know. And I will put you onto resources that you can read about. I'm not going to say, oh, go and find out for yourself. You know, that's so rude. But that's a big part of culture at the moment, where, you know, you have to learn about this culture and you have to understand why we're upset about this and why we're upset about that, but nobody will actually tell you. Then they're like, don't keep asking us about this, it's annoying. I'm like, well, how else do you learn? American history specifically has been whitewashed so badly in books. How else do you learn if not from the people themselves? And I love that the Native American people are so open and willing to teach us about the things that we should have learned 400 years ago. You know, I love that. You cut your hair when you want a fresh start. Yeah. Every time I've taken my dreads out, it's because a relationship came to an end and I was like, yeah, I've had enough. I need a fresh start. Because I literally felt like I was carrying the weight of that relationship with me. So every time I have a major breakup, which has been so far about once every 8 years, I take my dreads out. And when I'm ready, I put them back in again. You love not cutting your hair except for grief. That's how your hair cut. That's how you cut your hair the first time. Yeah. I love the idea of using your hair symbolically to get rid of old baggage or a fresh start, like Mika says, yeah. Eskimos are very interesting people. Oh, they're fascinating. I'm not sure. Now, this is one of the things I want to find out about. I'm not sure if Eskimo is the right name to call them. Is that one of those names that you're not actually supposed to use? That it's okay for them to use, but not for you? Or not? I don't know about that one. But I do know that most people who fall under the umbrella term, if you like, of Eskimo are First Nation Inuit. So I tend to stick with that, purely because I feel like that's, you know... I think Inuit is the correct name. I don't know where Eskimo comes from. I don't know if that's a word that we forced on them, or if that's a word that they use. There are people who want to do away with Columbus Day and it gets confusing. Well, Columbus didn't discover America anyway. And he thought he'd found India. So, you know. Anyway. I want to do some more, but I don't want to have a, like, 50-hour live stream. I'm enjoying just hanging out, but I guess I can just go into, when it finishes rendering, I can just chop off the end of it. So you get all the sewing bits and the interesting bits and all that, and then all the chat bit I can just chop out. And I can download it and give it to my patrons if they want to listen to it, because I'm kind of assuming that the patrons are the ones who will want to watch. People who want to watch will watch, yeah. And the people who don't will comment about it and complain about how much I talk and don't do anything. And I'll be like, yeah, come at me. Calling people Eskimo is racist. I think, I'm now, again, don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% sure. I believe I'm correct in saying that using Eskimo to refer to Inuit people is a bit like the N-word. It's something that they use, but you're not supposed to use it if you're not part of their culture. It's offensive to them to use it at them. There's a big difference between saying the Eskimo type people when you're generalising, in the same as you say, well, black people. You know, all black people are not the same. But you can generalise, but when you're actually talking about people, you can't refer to somebody as an Eskimo. They are Inuit, or they are Indigenous, or they're First Nation. You don't call them Eskimo. Maybe hop over to Discord. I could. The correction to the etymological record came too late to rehabilitate the word Eskimo. The world's racist history means most people in Canada and Greenland still prefer other terms. Okay. I prefer the term Inuit anyway. I think it's a much nicer word. I think the problem with the word Eskimo is not that it is derogatory. It's like the N-word. The N-word in and of itself is not derogatory. They use it themselves. However, we use it in a derogatory fashion, or historically it has been used in a derogatory fashion by people who are not of that culture. And that's why they don't like being called it. By us. It's similar to the word gypsy. You don't refer to travellers as gypsies. Because gypsy was always used as a derogatory term. You call them travellers, or you call them Roma, or, you know, you don't call them gypsies. But we can use that word. That's our word. But you can't use it in a derogatory sense. And because it's always used in a derogatory sense, historically, it's better not to use it. But you can call me anything you like, I don't care. But that's me personally, because I don't get hung up on words. I love when you learn new things and get educated. Part of your lack of good education in the US is it's changed over the years, yeah. We had quite a good basis of learning over here, but because America doesn't teach American history properly, we never learnt American history properly. We learnt what the Americans wanted us to know. But European history, we know lots about because there's so much of it. A lot of people thought Eskimo meant eater of raw meat, which connoted, is that the right word? Barbarism and violence. Right. Whereas in fact, most of what they would eat is raw fish, is it not? Don't they do uncooked fish dishes, not like sushi, but uncooked fish dishes, because that's what was easiest to live on? Public education in the US is a joke. I don't think you needed to put public education in that sentence, Cody. Honestly. Oh. 2 weeks, eh? 2 weeks, and maybe things will change. Just keep your fingers crossed. Because if they don't, I think it's going to be bad. Bad. But do I want to do anything? I kind of do. I want to do this. I've got some stickers I saw earlier that I thought might go with this, because this is the... You skipped a lot of your history, and only history you really learned was the Civil War. Yeah. This is how we kicked out the British, who invaded countries and colonised them, but actually were interested in other people, and then became completely uninterested in anybody but ourselves. Okay, this is the one about the newspapers. We should bear in mind that in general it's the object of our newspapers rather to create sensation, to make a point, than to further the cause of truth. Which I think is very true, is it not? Even today. Poe wasn't avant-garde, things just haven't changed that much. Okay, do I have anything newspapery? I did actually see something in my other set, but let's have a look here. It looks like the kind of thing a learned gentleman might say. Maybe we can use the learned gentleman there. We might be able to use that writing one, because it's one of his writings. Well, it's all about his writings, but you know what I mean. That's more books and papers with quotes. That shouldn't be in that set. That should be in my witchy set back here. I've got these, which are all... Maybe we can use the learned gentleman. I quite like the idea of using him. And I've also got, I spotted in here earlier, there's some scrolls in this one that I thought would work. Ah, there it is. Whoops. There's a scroll. There's one there with a clock on it, which I think signifies that times don't change very much. There's some more of that tissue paper I could use. There's another scroll and some more writing and some A, B, C, D, E, F, G stuff. So this is like a wisdom quote almost. Yeah, cat bird. I'll be using that somewhere. Okay, and we've got the learned gentleman and a bit of writing, handwriting there. I don't think there's anything on this one. No, it's more womany. put her back in there. Oh, gosh. Chat just went whoosh. The Civil War, yeah. Oh, no, there's two, isn't there? There's the Confederate is the Civil War, and then the other one is us. By us, I mean the British. The British and the French, right? I can never remember the name of that first one, what they call it. But the Civil War is the Confederates and Union, right? It was all about slavery, basically. Except they claim it wasn't. Is that pouch on your Amazon list? This one? No, this, you can find these on eBay. If you look for document wallet, document travel wallet, or travel pouch, you will find stuff like this. Revolutionary War, thank you. That's what I was trying to... Yeah. That was the English, the French, and the Dutch, and the... whoever else was trying to kick the British out, or something like that. I don't know. I've never studied it. We went over there, we gave up, we came back. And at some point, somebody created a meme that said, if you American lot don't behave yourself, we're putting the Queen back in charge. It's funny how you think about where people are and make assumptions. Yeah, it is, isn't it? You live in the Seattle area too. Oh, right. Yeah, I see how that... Yeah, because Ashley's in Seattle as well. And by in Seattle, I mean somewhere over that way. Seattle's practically bigger than the whole of the UK, so... It boggles my mind that everything in America is so big. Okay. Can I put enough of him over there that you can't see that writing? I think I can. So let's start with that and go from there, shall we? Let's just stick that down there. Where's my glue? Oh God, I had this yesterday, didn't I? I couldn't find my glue sticks. Ugh. Why can't I find my glue sticks? I have like 11,000 of them. Oh, here's one. Yeah, you probably can get them on American Amazon, but they'll probably come from Japan. But yeah, eBay is where I got them because they're like, I think I paid like $3.99 for 4 in different colours. In fact, actually, I've got a bright green one here somewhere. If you'd like it, I will put all your stuff in it because at some point now I've got my car back. Hopefully Friday, probably next week because I've got a lot to do this week. I'm going to go to the post office and get yours and Ashley's and Amber's and Risha's and Mika's stuff sent out in the post. So if you can't find one, don't worry because I've got like it's this colour green. It's this colour green, which is right up your street. And I hate it. I got a pack of 4. I think I got a black one, a grey one, a red one, and a green one. And oh yes, and I have to send out Steph's tarot cards. Yeah, well done for reminding me. That's the other thing I haven't put on my list. That's also going because it's all piled up here, ready to go. It's all in boxes. I just need to get to the post office. But because I've had to, in order to get to the post office, I have to take the bus. I haven't been to the post office because I refuse to get on a bus at the moment. They have got them on Amazon. You bought one there a few years back. Oh, hey, John. That, Planning with John, if you don't already know, that is John Rush. So if you follow John Rush, I call him John Rush. I don't think that's actually his name, but that's how I know him. That's John, the flautist, rather. But he's changed his name to Planning with John everywhere. So if you missed that, there he is. Go check out his YouTube. He's got lots of nice stuff to ogle at. Especially if you like leather stuff. I don't go all out for buying loads and loads of things. I still only have, even now, I only have 4 Traveller's Notebooks. Well, another one. I've got another standard now, because I've been after this one for a while. But I don't have plans to buy any more. But he's got like millions of them. Go give him a follow. Put your... Ash, can you put his link in the chat? Oh, speaking of music, the music you are listening to currently is our other flautist, which is Katie Shesko. You will find her all over the place. Her album is what you're listening to, the Flute Gaming Chronicles. She's working on another one, but she has some Halloween music coming out. So go give her a follow, because she's got some special Halloween tunes coming. Eskimo is one of those English terms, eh? Yeah, I think it's a term that they adopted, that we gave them, that they adopted, but they use it, but we use it derogatory, or historically have always used it in a derogatory way, so we don't use it. But as an umbrella term, like, you know, when you talk about Eskimo people or Native American people or black people, you've got an idea of what you're talking about, just as an umbrella, as opposed to when you're respectfully talking about specific tribes or people and you actually make the effort to talk about them correctly. There you go, there's John's channel. Columbus was a jerk. Yeah. You know what the worst bit is? We get blamed for him. He wasn't even British. It wasn't ours. You like to hang out with us? Yeah, everybody likes to hang out here. It's fun. Okay, I'm thinking I might put that there. Maybe put that there. Create a little cluster effect thing going on. And then put my learned gentleman here. As if he's saying the quote. Oh, I like that. I might put that on top. So let's put that one there. I like the clock, because it symbolises to me that times haven't changed very much. Here we are, almost 200 years later, and the purpose of the newspapers is still to clickbait people, as opposed to actually being truthful and telling people what's actually going on. But that's a soapbox for another day. Let's not get onto that one, because, come on. Okay, if I put my learned gentleman there, and I put this here. Oh, actually, no, I think it looks better if he stood in front of it. Yeah, I like the scroll there. Let's put that down. Gotta love stickers for collage. Oof. So much easier than trying to glue everything down. You're calming down your overstimulated squirrels by chatting with us. Tell me about it. Overstimulated squirrels. I know the feeling so well. Let's put that sort of there-ish. And then maybe we can put him just standing slightly in front of it. Maybe we can put him there. Oh, I know. I've just put that one away, haven't I? But I've got another one of these. So I could put that there. Let's put that there for him, and then let's put him here. Oops. Yes! I like it. I like it. There we go. Little cluster collage going on there. Hanging out with you guys. Oh. The one where you try to tie your shoelace and it doesn't work and you almost tell the damn thing across the room. Oh, been there, done that. Most of my shoes are done up with Velcro. Even if I manage to do my shoelaces up, they don't stay done up for very long. These are from the Stickii box. I did these at the beginning of the... I've been doing Stickii box. This is a different set, but this is the ones I did at the beginning of the stream, so. I got lots of fun stickers. And I've also got, where's that other one that I had here? That I was going, oh, there it is. So I was going to use this one as his, you know, because this is like a part of his writing. Let's use this somewhere. Maybe on that corner? No. Maybe on that corner. Or maybe not. Maybe I don't need anything else. I'm thinking, now when I do quotes, okay, I get a lot of people asking me about this. I do them in pencil first. That's how I know that everything's going to fit on the page. Okay? Simple as that. So I'm thinking I'm going to do like a... I like to put my quotes in borders because I think it looks good. Let's do that a little bit further out there, like that. There's actually a line coming down here, so I might have it come down here like that, in line with that bit there. Make it a bit squarer. There we go. Okay, so where is the quote from? Let's put that down here. So, the mystery of Marie Roget. And I might put the date because it seems important to put the date for that one. Okay, so we need to put... What are the important words? That's how I pick out what I want to write and how I want to write it. Why is it doing that? Okay. We should bear in mind that, in general, it is the object of our newspapers. That seems like an important bit. The object of our newspapers. Rather to create a sensation to make a point. That kind of goes with that. Than to further the cause of truth. So that's the end of the quote. So I think we need truth needs to be big. Further the cause of, I think we could fit that in there. Further the cause of truth. Might be able to fit that on one line. To create a sensation to make a point. I think this should be than to further the cause of. There we go. Then this can be to make a point, and let's make that the same size as sensation. Let's do a big like they do it in the newspapers with the E wouldn't be that big, would it? It'd be half size. So they do a big capital and then they do larger first line. We should bear in mind, and then they go smaller, don't they? That in general it is the object of our newspapers rather to create a sensation. It is the object of our I don't like that. That doesn't balance. What if we did object of our newspapers? There we go. So now we can move this up. So this can be a bit smaller. This can move up to here. Sensation can be bigger. I feel like that W should be bigger. So that'll move across. Or just the W. I think just the W actually. Just the W should be bigger. Yeah, okay, so now I know how it's going to look. I can start erasing and rearranging it. And I don't do the proper writing or how I want it to look until I get the... Where's my eraser? Now you want to sketch this quote, but that means getting up. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom. I think I can move this up a bit. The mystery of Marie Roget. Date. So I think to make a point can fit in there. Let's put sensational on there. So to make a point, than to further the cause. What does it say? Than to, oh, rather to create a sensation than to further the cause of truth. So let's clear up this bit up here. What if we did a big, what if we did a big Gothic W? And then I can put this on 3 lines. So let's erase this as we go. We should bear in mind that in general it is the object of our newspapers that'll work. Object of our newspapers rather to create a sensation to make a point rather than to further the cause of truth. And that's how I work out my quotes and how I get them to fit on the page. And after that is when I worry about, oh, is it straight? Is it lined up correctly? Is it? So I will now go over this again, but do it properly in pencil. Then I'll link it. That's how I do my quotes, and that's how I get it to space correctly on the page. Okay? So for those of you who were asking about that, I might even see if I've got a Gothic W sticker actually, because I do have the oldie Victorian sticker book, do I not? Do I have a suitably Gothic looking W? Actually, that's very typeface. It's more modern, but it's very typeface. It's got brown in it, but I don't see any reason why I couldn't add brown to the lettering. I've got something that's a bit more like this. I guess that's the nearest one. But it's got pink in it, and I don't want... I guess I could add like red or gold or something to it. That would be fine. That's the proper Gothic one, but again, it's pink. It doesn't fit my colour scheme. You're off. See you later, Steph. Give Lara a cuddle from me. Which set are the first ones from the beginning of the stream? The watches is from the retro set. Sticky Box Retro, October. I don't know if this one is too big, but I like this one because I can turn those brown stripes into gold, which fits my colour scheme, or I can add brown and gold to the colours, the wording. I've got some cream here, so that fits with that. I could even make that letter cream instead of white. I think we can do that. So here's a trick, right? Now, I need to fit that sticker into there, but obviously in order to fit that wide sticker into there, I'm going to need to rewrite this again. But I need to rewrite that anyway, so that's not a problem. I'm going to rewrite it properly, ready for inking, okay? So here's a little trick. I'm going to use my post-it note and I'm going to line it up with, where's the edge of the sticker? It's there. That's what's coming out of the book. Okay. It's not straight. So there's the edge of the sticker there and there. I can now cut that in a straight line. There. And there. It's not quite straight, but it doesn't matter. I can put that on there now. And now I can work out the writing without having to put my sticker down yet. Which means I can erase all of this stuff. Because otherwise, if you stick the sticker down, you've either got to erase all this stuff first, or you're going to have bits of pencil showing underneath the corner of your sticker. Every time I come up with one of those, I hear the fishwife in what's it called? Nightmare Before Christmas. Won't they be impressed? I am a genius. Oh dear. Oh, anyway. So I can now decide what I want to do with this bit here. I think maybe if I offset this just slightly outside, like this is, that will balance it better. So let's move this outside of the lines a little bit. So that actually means it lines up with the bottom, but it doesn't line up with the side. So I only have to move these letters over a bit, as opposed to changing the depth of the lines. So let's put that about there. Nope, a little bit further up. What the hell is wrong with me? Come on. There we go. Nope, too far. See, this is why we use sticky paper. Okay, there we go. Now, do you know I don't have any idea where any of my long rulers have gone to? Not a single one. They've all just poof. Okay. I'm not measuring anything, I'm just making lines. And making them roughly equidistant to the edge. Oh, I was going to line that up with that line there, wasn't I? So let's do that. So let's do that the same width. And let's make that one the same width as that. So that's going to be that big. No, that looks off centre. Let's do it the same width all the way around. Which means that is going to actually be inside those lines. So that's okay. I like that idea. So my sticker's going to be there now. That's better. I like that. That'll work. There we go. So now I can rejig this little bit here. You know what I'd quite like to do, actually, I think, is take the date off there and I'd like to put it up here, like they do with newspaper headers. maybe have Edgar Allan Poe, and then 1840, whatever it is, squiggle that it's going to be. Actually, I think it's not 1837. I'm not sure. I need to look that one up. Okay, so I can now erase some of this. So we should... Now this is where I'm going to be slightly more mindful of writing on a straight line. I can actually write in a straight line, and I don't care if it's not in a straight line. So, oh, see you later, Brenda. We should bear in mind that, oh, this is too far down. We should bear in mind so that's going to be there, so that'd be here, that in general it is the object of our, can almost spell our, let's try that one again, our, there we go, the object of our, okay, this needs to be shifted over there a bit, so, oh, I've got more space here now that I've moved this line across, so that's good. Now, I don't really want to write this necessarily on a straight line, so let's do an actual curve. News, where's the P going to come? About there. News papers. Oh, S is too big. There we go. That's better. Newspapers. I like that there, that's okay. It needs shifting over just a little bit, but that'll be fine. Rather to create a sensation. 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 Still too big. The E and the N up here are too big, so I need to do that one again. To make a point, this needs spreading out a little bit. To make a point, than to further the cause of, that just needs moving over a bit, of truth. And that can move down a bit. Okay, let's try this sensation bit again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This part of the word is bigger. So I need that A to be in the middle. So we need the A sort of there-ish. If I put the A there and the N in there. No, that's not right. Sen, S-E-N-A-T-I-O-N. That's right, isn't it? Okay. So let's divide this into 8. And then we've got a box for each letter, haven't we? And this one, there we go. Sen, say, shun. Now the O is wider than the I, so what I'll do is I'll move this line over. I'll put the O that big and I'll make the I a bit thinner, like that. And then the N will still fit in there. Actually, I can move the O over a bit more and then the N can sit in there. There we go, that's better. I've ended up with 2 I's and I don't know how I've done that, but that happens. So T O I. There we go, that's better. Sensation. That O isn't big enough. I never make my O's tall enough. To make point, than to further the cause of truth. Move that down a bit. There we go. That'll work. So the next step is to replace that with the sticker. So we can erase all of this. Just put a tiny mark for where I want that corner of the sticker to sit. So let's put it, it's going to go over that dot. Now I can erase the lines. So the dot will be under the corner of the sticker, so it won't show. See? Oh! I'm going to have to stop in a minute because I'm getting hungry. But at least you'll see the whole setup of this page. And then literally all I've got to do is go in and ink it. So that's the dot. I want it just outside that, lined up with that and that. Make sure it's straight. Close enough is close enough. That will do. I might move these words over a little bit so that they fill up this gap, so that it's basically, I don't start the words till there, so that we've got the we. Should bear in mind. And then this will start here, that. Yes. So I can write those the same size, but they'll move over a bit. Yeah, that's good. I can do fancy bits with these. I can make blocks out of these if I want to. I can turn these into block letters or thicker letters or fancy letters or whatever. I can just do it as I go along. So there you go. That's how I map out a quote on a page without having to write loads of straight lines and things. Admittedly, I can write in a straight line. But if you can't write in a straight line, learn to do straight lines with your hand. So you literally just, if you wear bracelets or a watch, here's a nice trick. Line your watch up with the bottom of the page, hold your pencil where you want it, and then just run your watch along the edge of the page. And then you just change the where you hold your pencil, and you get a straight line. That's not a straight line because I didn't follow the line at the edge of the page, but I've already drawn my letters in, so it doesn't matter because I run it along with the bottom of my hand. I anchor the bottom of my hand to the page to write straight lines. But, you know, there's a bit of cream and brown shadowing in the roll. I think the brown would fit. Yeah, I think what I might do is add a bit of gold down here, maybe on the edges of the scroll or on this bit of twine, or maybe the pocket watch. Add a few bits of gold up here, and then add gold accents to this. And then that will, I think, and I'll change the colour of the white letter to cream. I think that will look better. I've got a nice cream here. I just think it will match better because this is almost the same colour. Yeah, I think if I just knock the white out of this very slightly to make it look more like aged parchment colour. That will work. Yeah, that looks much better. There we go. Now we've got the cream and the white. And if I bring that brown and browny gold down here, maybe onto the watch, then we've got the balance. And then I can use the same colour accents in here. Cool. I'm going to go and do that and have some food because I've been here even longer now. Oh, so if you are watching this on replay and you made it to the end of this stream, thank you very much. If you skipped the bits in the middle and watched the interesting bit at the beginning and the end, also thank you. And if you've been sitting with me for the last couple of hours, just chilling and doing your own thing, awesome. Thank you guys. Because that's what I come for. That's why I do lives, is because of you guys. Because you sit here and chat to me. And I can talk to you, and you can talk to me, and I learn stuff from you, like the first American war was called the Revolutionary War. Now, I'll remember that now. I've got quite the Pacific Northwest following. I think because when I stream, it's sort of 3-4 o'clock, which is when the Pacific Northwest, that's kind of when people over that side of the world are getting up and starting to go about their day. And people tend to, you know, if they see somebody's live, they're like, oh, I'll sit and watch that while I have my coffee, or while I watch have my breakfast, or before we set off for school or whatever. So anyway, don't forget we do have a Discord where you can come and join me as well. All you have to do to get in, it is a private one, it's not just open to anybody, but all you have to do to get in is to tell Mika or Katie when you enter the gate where you found out about the stream from, so, or where you found out about Discord from. So if you found it from here, that's fine, just tell them you got it from the live stream. And you come on over, we hang out and we chat, and there's group chat, and there's voice chat, and there's video chat, and we share our projects and our witchy stuff and our journals and all sorts of things. It's just a nice, quiet... It's like a Facebook group, but without the Facebook bit. 7 a.m. in Seattle. Yeah, it's getting up time, isn't it? When you don't really want to start your day, but you want to kind of wake your brain up. So just watching a few YouTubes or watching somebody live is a good way to start your day off. That's what I do as well. Cool. Thank you for joining me, guys. And thank you for the super chats. They will be going towards my coffee morning that I'm having tomorrow. It's not really a coffee morning. I'm going to drive over to Costa and get myself a gingerbread latte because I am severely lacking in gingerbread lattes. And I will see you guys if you want to come and join us for some more Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Class is still going on. This is the kind of thing we're doing. And yeah, see you over there if you want to come and join. And if not, you can join on Patreon, or you can just wait until next week when I will come back and talk lots of nonsense about all sorts of things. And I may well be sewing next week. Shall I do this next week? If I set this up and I pin this out ready, I could hand sew the back on this next week, couldn't I? Or, well, do I want to use my machine though? I don't know. Oh, no, I know what I was going to do was I was going to use this for embroidery. So I might just put the lining on this, because there's going to be a lining and then there's going to be a backing. So I might put the lining on it first so that I can do the embroidery on the front. I might do some embroidery. Because I thought what would be fun would be to pick out like some of these skeletons or some of the skulls and do them in coloured embroidery. I thought that would be a bit fun. So maybe we'll do that next week. Or maybe I'll have changed my mind by then. Who knows? But in the meantime, come and hang out with us on Discord. It's fun. Mika's always there. Mika lives on Discord pretty much. So there's always somebody in. But there's usually at least 3 or 4 people in. And I'll see you over there. Thanks for joining me, guys. See you next week. Bye.